It's Tuesday, another beautiful day is here. It's a yellow day for me. I don't know what color your day is taking, but I hope whatever color it is, whatever shade, it's going to be beautiful. My name is Benjamin Akakpo, and over these next 4 hours, I, together with MFA Aditi, will be serving it to you hot, hot, hot. Do stick and stay with us. Now, in a bit, I'll be serving you the AM news, followed by the news review. Don't forget that as part of the news belt, we'll also serve you sports. But joining us for the news review, Dr. Ikuya Mwako. She is with the MPP's Communications Directorate. We have Dr. Tanko Rashid Computer, CEO of GIFEC, and Remy Edmondson. It's been a while since he joined us. He contested in the Adenta constituency, I believe, or Domekwabinya. He will also join the conversation. Now, in terms of our big stories, there's that offer to defer the implementation of the nurses' conditions of service until 2026, about a year from now. It has been rejected, leaving no resolution to this Labour impasse. The question, how do we resolve the deadlock that has left health facilities abandoned and patients basically in harm's way? We'll be telling you about that. On our second bell, the minority has declared a sustained nationwide campaign against the Energy Sector Recovery Levy, or the D-Levy, describing it as draconian with far-reaching economic consequences for ordinary Ghanaians. We'll be delving incisively into that issue to find out what the facts and the figures are. You'd want to join us with your thoughts via the phone lines and all our social media handles. Stick and stay. It's the best breakfast show on television. And don't you forget, the AM show is proudly sponsored by Whaley Properties, and you know what they give you? They provide quality housing at an affordable cost and with a flexible payment option. Do stick and stay. I'll be serving you the news in just a bit. We appreciate your staying for the news belt. In our first story, Ghana's ambitious Gold for Oil program, once touted as a bold fix to the country's crippling dollar shortages and surging fuel prices, has now turned into a fiscal headache, racking up over 2 billion Ghana cedis in losses amid a deepening currency crisis and dwindling reserves. There's more in this analytical report by Joy News Research.
Since its rollout in January 2023, the Bank of Ghana has disclosed that it incurred losses of 317 million Ghana cedis in 2023 and 1.82 billion cedis in 2024 under the Gold for Oil program. That brings the total losses to some 2.14 billion Ghana cedis. According to the central bank, it injected 4.69 billion Ghana cedis into the program, effectively losing 45% of the capital it deployed in an effort to stabilize fuel prices and support the cedi. On March 13, 2025, the bank officially ended the Gold for Oil initiative, citing the heavy financial losses sustained as a primary reason for shutting it down. The entire arrangement was never subjected to parliamentary oversight. The ruling government argued at the time that the Gold for Oil program was not an executive policy but a central bank initiative and therefore did not require parliamentary approval. The cedi did stabilize months after the G4O's launch and fuel prices fell. While it's hard to isolate the program's direct impact from that of the IMF deal signed in May 2023, the reduced dollar demand from oil importers likely contributed to easing Ghana's exchange rate pressures. But there's still loads of questions unanswered around the Gold for Oil program, which has lost some 45% of its working capital.
Now, Speaker of Parliament Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin says Parliament is ready to draft a bill supporting lifestyle audits of individuals suspected of corruption. This development comes amid increasing demands from anti-graft campaigners and the Office of the Special Prosecutor for stricter measures to monitor and recover assets from public servants and politically exposed persons. Our very own James Aveji now reports.
Parliament in March 2025 signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Key Accountability Institutions Network consisting of SRAJ, IOCO, OSP and others to combat corruption and crime. Parliament under the obligation is expected to initiate the National Integrity Awards to recognize and honor citizens who demonstrate exceptional commitment to ethical conduct and transparency. Briefing the Speaker on progress of work so far, Shraj Commissioner Joseph Whittal says, although there have been some initial challenges, they have made headway in getting other institutions to sign on to the course.
While the intent of the MOU has been convincing, implementation has faced challenges, including the inability of heads to meet regularly as envisaged. However, I believe today's meeting is a corrective and forward-looking step in the right direction, and that it behoves us at this meeting to chart a new way forward.
Reacting to the development, Speaker Alban Bagbin first called for deeper collaboration between key accountability institutions to help deal with the widespread corruption among citizens.
As rightly noted in the preamble to the Memorandum of Understanding, the lack of coordination and collaboration among key accountability institutions has diminished the potential for institutionalizing the culture of transparency and accountability in public life.
He also indicated that the Integrity Award will run concurrently with what he calls the Vulture Award, which will name and shame people who are deeply involved in corruption.
This, we will identify such a person and name the person when we are doing the awards for the persons of integrity. Whether the person attends to take the cross or not, it will be hung there on the person's neck. Very, very important.
On the raging call for legislation for lifestyle audit of citizens, he said Parliament is ready to begin the drafting of a bill.
And I was happy to hear OSP also include it in their statement. We will legislate and we will stop this impunity of people flouting ill-gotten wealth in the face of poor Ghanaians.
The two parties will draft modalities for a smooth rollout of the Integrity Award in the coming weeks. James Savage, Parliament House, Accra.
Now, staying in Parliament, the minority has ignited a fiery debate demanding the government's immediate withdrawal of the contentious 1 cedi levy on petroleum products. At a news conference, the minority described the levy as draconian, hypocritical, and akin to, quote, midnight robbery. The Energy Sector Levy Amendment Bill, which has already been passed by Parliament and assented to by President John Mahama, was expected to take effect today. But the government was forced into a temporary U-turn following fierce opposition from transport unions and the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. Now, yesterday, the minority called on the government to suspend the implementation of the policy. James Aveji has more in this report.
The ranking member on the Energy Committee, George Kwame Abuaji, first cited the inconsistency in President Mahama and his Energy Minister John Jinapor's communication on the real intention of the tax, accusing governments of deceiving Ghanaians.
President Mahama on May 13, 2025, at African CEO Summit in Abidjan, here's what he said, and I quote, "We are using the proceeds from the energy sector levy to pay down the arrears," unquote. Honorable John Jinapor, the energy minister, also on June 4th, 2025, this is what also he said on Joy FM, City FM, and Joy News. I quote, "This levy is not intended to pay off legacy debt. Assuming without admitting that this is for debt payment, how can you pay $3.1 billion, that is amounting to 80 billion cedis, total debt, with 9 billion cedis, which will accrue by December 2026 from this levy?"
MP for Ufuasia Yorebi and also ranking on the Committee on Economy, Kojo Nkrumah also described the levy as a midnight robbery of Ghanaians.
This Dumsor levy has no minimum threshold. The poor are actually the most affected because, unlike the rich, for the poor, every single cedi counts a lot more. And that's why we say it's midnight robbery. The e-levy, number 4, was payable only by people who opted to do money transfers. this Dumsor levy is payable by all Ghanaians, unless you decide to work every day. Because even if you're a farmer and you are buying fuel for your tractors to work on your farm, you will pay this Dumsor levy that this government has just imposed.
They offered some remedies on how government can deal with the situation.
We think that what the government should do is to conclude the renegotiations of the of the power purchase agreements which were started by the previous administration, and to pass on two things: the fuel and capacity charges into the PPAs. Government should include these in the tariff calculations to eliminate the need for off-book debts that are caused by the take or pay clauses in the energy sector contracts that were signed between 2013 and 2016. Government should quicken the efforts to bring efficiency into the operations of GRIDCO and ECG to reduce transmission, distribution, and other technical losses. We're asking government to pursue the strategy that we proposed in 2024 to go heavily into renewable energy, as advertised, for example, in our manifesto, to reduce the need for fuel importation and its consequent negative impacts on the economy.
But what do they intend to do if government does not heed to their call?
We as a minority group representing over 10 million Ghanaians, and sometimes people say, oh, they are just 88. In our 88 constituencies, you will find over 10 million Ghanaians. We want to advertise that we'll be embarking on the following. Number one, we'll continuously engage the people of Ghana, civil society groups, driver unions, and the media to showcase the true impact of this draconian and negative levy that the government is imposing on us.
As it stands, President John Mahama has already assented to the bill, awaiting full implementation by stakeholders. But the minority is claiming their resolve to get government to back down. James Savage's report for Joy News.
Hundreds of residents in Senyabreku, Gomwa, Brofuyedru, and Agona Kwaman, all in the central region, turned out for a free dental screening exercise aimed at promoting oral hygiene and identifying dental issues before they worsen. The founder and CEO of the Marigold Foundation, Justina Marigold Assan, noted that many people did not prioritize their dental health. She emphasized that the initiative was a significant step towards creating awareness and encouraging the public to take better care of their teeth. There's more in this report.
The dental and health screening exercise attracted scores of residents from Senyabreku in the Wutu Senya West municipality. The exercise provided residents with vital checkups and practical guidance on maintaining good oral hygiene, aiding in creating awareness among the rural population. The founder and CEO of the Marigold Foundation, Justina Marigold Assan, shared the inspiration behind the dental screening.
We do so because when you go to our various hospitals, dental departments are missing in most of the clinics or hospitals that we have. So normally when you go to any clinic, you see people there coming to take care of themselves, but not the dental aspect of it. So this is a unique way of making it public and making people aware that there's a need for us to take good care of our teeth.
Ted Fields, an oral surgeon in Dallas, Texas, in the United States of America, advised people to regularly practice good oral hygiene.
Regularly taking care of your teeth is really, really important, just like regularly taking care of your overall health is. And I would really like to see that improve here. So since I started practicing as a doctor, one of my main missions, my main goals has been to try and leave our profession better than I found it.
A teacher at the Brofuyedru Catholic DA, Ketura Dansuaredu, commended the organizers of the exercise.
They are doing so well because I personally have cleaned my teeth and I think they are doing perfectly well. And I've seen a lot of people here, school children, elderly people, like a whole lot of people are here. So we thank them very much that we are having such a program.
Abigail Lissel Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Well, let's stay on the subject matter of health as lecturers and students at UHAS's Fred N. Binka School of Public Health are urging the Ministry of Health and the Ghanaian government to resume and complete the abandoned Hohoi campus project. Overcrowded temporary facilities are hampering learning with over 2,000 students affected. Concerns were raised during a public health education initiative on nutrition and public health. Ivy Setoji reports.
The University of Health and Allied Sciences, UHAS, established in 2011 under the late President Professor John Evans Fifi Atta-Mills, was envisioned as a key institution to train health professionals and improve healthcare delivery across Ghana. As part of this mission, the Friend Binka School of Public Health was set up in Hohwe to cater to the health education needs of the northern part of the region. More than a decade later, the school remains confined to temporary facilities located within the Hohwe Municipal Hospital. Construction of the permanent main campus at Fodome, which began in 2012, has been stalled for years due to lack of funding. Unfinished buildings now stand abandoned, exposed to harsh weather, and vital equipment meant for use on the site lies idle. Professor Francis Bruno Zuto, a nutritionist and senior lecturer at the school, voiced his frustration.
We are cramped in this small vicinity that you find. Imagine over 2,000 students in a 10-room class block. It is a challenge. We cannot continue. We've been here for 10 years. My appeal is that the government, the farmers, the chiefs, and everybody involved in this enclave should put their shoulder to the wheel and impress upon the leadership to try and do something about the Fodome.
The dean of the school, Professor Frank Bedin, expressed similar sentiments, emphasizing that the stalled development at the Fodome campus is constraining growth and expansion plans for the university.
Currently, work is stalled at the place, and the university, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, is appealing to get funds and to other institutions that are connected with higher education in the country to please help to complete the Fodome site projects.
Several students also shared their frustrations, stating that the lack of infrastructure is taking a toll on their academic experience.
We lack adequate space, and because of that, we have about 314 students in a class, and that is very, very hectic.
This hall contains almost about 300 students in a session, and during this, at times, light goes off and the room becomes very hot for us to bear.
Ivy Setoji, Joy News, Fodome.
Please allow us to serve you our business updates now, courtesy Sweetie Abochi.
This is the business update segment on the AM News. Let's start now with our currency market update. Now, the business news proper, starting with the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry has implored governments to intensify engagement and consultations with the business community in every step of the way of the new VAT system yet to be implemented in September this year. Chief Executive of the Chamber, Mark Bedu Abwaje, tells Joy Business the final document of the review must be made available to business groups before it is implemented, and he spoke to Joy Business.
Well, I think the initial engagement is what they have done, is to listen to us. And then once they go back to their drawing board, we expect that our comments or our recommendations will be factored into whatever they want to do. Once it's done, it's important that they get back to us and present it to us that based on the engagement we've had with you, this is the outcome and this is how the reform is going to be, and even an implementation plan. Then if you have any further input or any further questions, then we will ask. So the process is more of a lot of the engagement. It shouldn't be one-off engagement and assume that once you have met the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry once or twice, that should be the end of it. And then they will spring a surprise on us that you have met us. So they are coming out with a policy that we have not seen. We want to see the final document, the final policy, the final reform before at least it's implemented. So as a constant engagement, I think September is somewhere about 3 or 4 months away.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful that they will get back to us with a final document, or at least something close to that, so we can make our final input into that particular.
All right.
Now, cocoa farmers in the country are calling for better conditions of service, including an increase in the producer price of cocoa. This call follows assurances from President John Mahama of an increase in the 2025-2026 cocoa season. Speaking to Joy Business, President of Concerned Farmers Association of Ghana, Nana Obambo Bonsu II, welcomed the projected increase in the producer price, indicating that it would cushion farmers.
Yeah, Cocoa Board has done a lot of jobs. I mean, they've done a lot. We can't say that Cocoa Board have done nothing. They've done. But then it's a business that we are doing. And at the end of the day, when you go, the tomato price keep on going up. They get the other produce. They determine the price that they need to sell it. But when it comes to cocoa, because the government have the monopoly and at the end of the day have a lot of input or maybe help with the farmers in the way, so he determined how much he should give us. But at the end, they pay the constitution, says that we need the 70% share of it. And apart from that, our welfare is very important because the past government, we hit on the, how do you call it, the welfare, which they put wax in their ears. So when this government came, we are still also putting pressure on them so that then our welfare will be paid. If our welfare is being paid all right, per the constitution, and at the end of the day, going into with the constitution that we need to have the 70% share, I think it is nice and brilliant. And even now, government also want to do business, but also producing cocoa, maybe having a farm that can produce cocoa. Well, it is all good, but at the end of the day, the farmers out there, which we represent them, we have a lot of FBOs around. They are crying for price. And this government promises, and we believe in John Dramani Mahama that he is going to deliver. So at the end of the day, we think there's going to be an increment.
Now, to our stories in detail, and Thomas Partey, Iñaki Williams, and Antoine Semenyo, they are the top 3 players selected for this year's Ghana Football Awards for Ghana Player of the Year. My colleague, Elambert Fiamagwa, has been going through the season of these 3 players and put together this report.
Being a pillar for Athletic Club in La Liga, Iñaki has once again proven why he's one of the most reliable forwards in Spanish football. Known for his blistering pace, unmatched durability, and tactical versatility, he played 35 La Liga matches, netting 6 goals and delivering 8 assists. In the Europa League, Iñaki featured in 12 games, scoring 5 goals and helping Athletic Club reach the semi-finals. He also contributed in domestic competitions with an assist in the Copa del Rey and an appearance in the Supercopa de España. In total, he scored 11 goals in 47 matches for his club in the just-ended season. Despite an injury that affected his availability for the national team, he still managed to represent Ghana in 5 matches, scoring once for the Black Stars. Arsenal's midfield general, Thomas Partey, has been immense this season. With his blend of strength, vision, and composure, Partey featured in 35 matches, clocking 2,779 minutes in the Premier League. He contributed 4 goals, notably scoring against Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, and Manchester City, alongside 2 assists. In Europe, he played 12 UEFA Champions League games, helping Arsenal reach the semi-finals. On the international stage, Partey appeared in 6 matches for Ghana, scoring 2 goals, once again proving his value both defensively and offensively. Bournemouth forward Antoine Semenyo has truly come into his own season. Known for his power, pace, and rare two-footed ability, Semenyo featured in 37 Premier League games, scoring 11 goals and assisting 5 times. In the domestic cup competitions, he made 5 appearances and scored 2 goals. For the Black Stars, he played 9 matches, finding the net once. At just 25 years old, Semenyo has firmly established himself as a key player for both club and country.
Thomas Partey, Iñaki Williams, and Antoine Semenyo will be vying for the Ghana Player of the Year. These players were not available during the Black Stars' participation in the Unity Cup in London. Many other players, like the likes of Mohamed Kudus, were all not available, but it gave an opportunity to Ado to try other players and see whether they can fit into the national team in the absence of some of the players who are core and the heart of the senior national team. Faisal Chipsa, who is a FIFA high-performance analyst, says that after watching the 2 matches Ghana played against Nigeria and Trinidad and Tobago, he believes that these new players will give Otuado loads of headache.
It was exciting to see many new faces. I don't think the calendar and the FIFA window allows coaches to give opportunity to new players they haven't seen. So this is the time where you can test new players, right? This is a time where you can give your main players a break and offer more new opportunities to new players. So I was excited to see that. And clearly we've seen some that have made a case and arguments for themselves. So it's a headache for the coach going into the September games. But a positive thing for me was the opportunity given to new faces, but also for the coaches to try something new, right? And it was positive. It's difficult, towards the end of the season if you organize these kind of games because players are tired. Again, some are on delays, but it's always something positive that comes out of situations like this. So excited and looking forward to seeing some of these new faces in September.
Caleb Jirinchi and then Christopher Bonsuba. How hard is it for them at this point, keeping the cool head, knowing they've put up a good performance and they have Ghanaians singing their name all the time?
No, I don't think it's hard at all, if you ask me, because many young players, they prepare themselves for this day, for this opportunity to come. Unfortunately, many young players don't get this opportunity, so I think they've prepared themselves very well, and when the opportunity came, they've grabbed it. So again, I'm excited. Hopefully, they get rewarded after their performances last week. But I think there are many more that are waiting to get an opportunity like this, and hopefully they get it, and hopefully they prepare themselves for this day and not wait until the day comes. So excited, and I wish them the best of luck, and hopefully we will see the Black Stars improve in the next couple of days.
To the Ghana Football Association's decision to sanction the head coach of Brecum Chelsea and 5 other players of the team. The football governing body, in a statement which was released yesterday, said that Brecum Chelsea head coach Samuel Boadu has been fined 1,000 Ghana cedis by the disciplinary committee for unsporting behavior towards match officials during their MTN FA Cup semi-final match against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. He was found guilty of unsporting behavior towards match officials, and this match was played on May 11. He has been strongly warned that any further misconduct will result in severe sanctions. The fine has been suspended for a period of 6 months. What it means is that he's expected to put up a very good behavior, and within that 6 months that the Ghana Football Association has given to him. And these are the players who have also been sanctioned. There are 5 players, Stephen Amankana, Mizaka Friye, Zakaria Hussein, and Seydi Mohammed. They have been fined 1,000 Ghana cedis by the disciplinary committee as well for misconduct during the FA Cup semi-final match against Asante Kotoko. They were also found guilty of unsporting behavior towards match officials, and they've been strongly warned that any further misconduct will result in severe sanctions. The fines have equally been suspended for a period of 6 months. So within 6 months, you are expected to put up the best of behaviors. To boxing, where media reports a couple of months ago had suggested that former world champion Isaac Dogbe donated 100,000 Ghana cedis to the Ghana Boxing Authority. However, president of the authority, Abraham Korte Nikwe, has revealed that he gave them $150 and not 100,000 Ghana cedis.
In it here that Isaac Dogbe, Isaac Dogbe did not pay 100,000. I am saying it here.
Okay, but then it means that the public has been misinformed.
Yes, listen.
Okay.
Isaac Dogbe never. Isaac Dogbe have a fight, right? And he came to Ghana. I know people have calculated how much he made out of his fight. In the house of our chief, the Ghana chief, we went there to visit Niga.
You mean the Gamanche?
The Gamanche.
Through the second.
Yes. And there, Isaac Dogbe gave the Ghana Boxing Authority $150 at that time. The group that came to donate that thing, niche, and they said they are donating this one to us, doing program. After we stopped following them, the manager says, the owner of the business says he was not around when they came to do that thing. To today.
Okay. So
I'm saying that, let me finish.
Okay.
You mentioned
I just wanted
people.
some clarification.
Yes.
You are saying that Nish decided to do a donation to the Boxing Authority on Isaac Dogbe's behalf?
Yes.
Okay.
But it never happened.
What kind of donation was it? Was it a cash donation? Was it products?
They present the one you said that the Isaac Dogbe presented 100,000.
Okay.
There's nothing like that.
Okay, but
Isaac Dogbe himself
gave
the Ghana Boxing Authority $150.
Okay, but the 100,000 Ghana cedis represents a donation from Nish.
Yes.
And they did it as what to the Ghana Boxing Authority?
It's because they have Isaac Dogbe as their brand
ambassador.
Yes.
Okay.
But we never received that money.
Okay. So it means you are saying that Isaac Dogbe, who came to sit with the Boxing Authority to agree that he was going to pay a percentage from his purse, unlike some other boxers, has not paid anything from any
No,
of his
he gave
fights
us $150. He came to the office and gave us $150.
$150. Have you made any attempts to have a conversation with him about it?
I spoke to him. He said, President, I'll come.
Okay.
Now
so he hasn't paid any percentages.
No.
Okay.
He's listening.
Okay.
The transfer window is on. Manchester United, they are reportedly making a move for Sporting Lisbon striker Victor Corres. And there's more in this report by Sky Sports.
Conditions around a potential deal. Ruben Amorim, of course, a huge fan of the player. He managed him for just over a season at Sporting. 66 goals he scored for Ruben Amorim. He's got 97 in 102 appearances for Sporting. We understand he's got a gentleman's agreement to leave Sporting this summer for offers above £58 million, 70 million euros. He does have a release clause around £84 million, but we understand bids around 70 million euros could be enough for a transfer this summer. Now, United are in the market for a striker this summer, regardless of the situation around Rasmus Højlund. He spoke over the weekend and said he's not considering leaving. He's going to fight for his place. He's got a long contract at the club. He's not looking to leave. United have a number of options they're looking at in that number 9 position, but an initial approach has been made to try to sign Victor Gyökeres, and that would be a huge signing for Manchester United, because it was thought that he'd want to play Champions League football next season. Well, he won't even get European football at Manchester United, but it seems that pulling power at United is still there. A lot of people will ask when we talk about Manchester United, how are they affording to sign the likes of Matheus Cunha, Brian Mbeumo and Victor Gyökeres in the same window, considering where they finished in the Premier League, considering they've got no European football? Well, clearly there is going to be a big focus on departures at United as well this summer. Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Antony, Alejandro Garnacho. Offers are expected for those players. Nothing formal at this moment in time, but United are looking for permanent sales in this window to help them restructure and evolve this squad, which is in need of real repair for United to get back to a position where they're fighting for major honours again.
One year after the floodwaters swallowed homes, many in Mepe are still waiting for a place to call home again. For Theodora and her family, the wait has been long and unbearable. Her family is one of over 100 households living in temporary UNICEF tents at 3 resettlement camps in the North Town district. Their mud house was swept away, leaving them with only what they could salvage.
Face that kind of problem.
At Camp 1, a 10-unit structure built by the government sits empty. The flood victims say it was hurriedly constructed and unlivable.
We 2 weeks. Hey, come to about 2 Holagama. 2 weeks, 3. You'll be ever packing me. I mean, household. One may we are to me, I know how great a camera. Yeah, I mean, like Balena, all Levy. Look at Allo Bumio. Want to know that Mamma, look over close your cleaners from Nano Homer. Well, I tell you. I'm a flamina. Look at me, Jella, would you? A Calavamina and a Capomo. If you got packing me, I'll be sardine and the atro or the camera. You cook Alehama home.
The government's resettlement project remains incomplete, but concerns are growing over the cost and quality of the new housing units.
They are putting up 20 rooms, which is 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, no toilet, no bath. Small 6x6 posh. Do you want them to stay or to sleep? And they are laying it without mortar joint. When you push it with your hand, the whole thing will collapse. And this building alone, when I tell you the cost of it is reaching 1 million Ghana cedis. It's about 800,000 Ghana cedis for these 2 bedrooms alone. Why is the government wasting money in somebody's pocket? Please compensate the victims so that they go to their homes and leave the camps for you.
For these victims, it is not just about shelter, it is about dignity, security, and a chance to rebuild their lives. They are not asking for much, just a home that is safe, decent, and truly theirs.
I'm the Garakam with a can of Hogger Common. Terminology. I got 8 billion. I got 2 a home. I got Mr. Gom. Me and your government to be over. No chunk and Minya to me. Gear nature chomily. Minya Bechi Topo. Nila planning Balapuji, Atwapi. Nia planning Balapuji, Atwapi. Go over packing me daddy. Go Helen Gula Mienti. Near the Capomo.
Over 1 year after the floods, they are still waiting, but for how much longer? From Mepe in the North Town district of the Volta region, my name is Fred Kwame Asari for Joy News.
Hello again. Good morning. It's a few minutes to the second hour on the AM show, and a gentle reminder that the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties. Before I introduce my guest to you, I have this question I must ask you. Are you thinking of a rewarding investment that you can engage in? Then Waylead Company Limited is your preferred choice for such investment. Waylead Company Limited is a real estate company with several developments to its credit in Accra. And you want to take particular interest in Willow Lane, the newest or latest development where elegance meets tranquility. At Waylead, we provide quality housing at affordable cost with flexible payment option. We also give you 24-hour security, reliable power supply, and other social amenities to make your stay a memorable one. Why don't you give us a call now on these numbers? 0240-111-119 or 0504-499-999. You can also visit our website at www.waylead.org for more information. So, who's joining me for news review this morning? Dr. Ikuya Mwako. She is a member of the NPP Communications Directorate. And we have Remy Edmondson. He's National Secretary of the PPP. Later on, we have a third guest joining us, and I will introduce him when he does. Ladies and gentlemen, in red, good morning and welcome to the AM show.
Morning.
So, what happened today, though?
It was purely coincidence.
Coincidence? I thought telepathy, but coincidence
great minds as well. I think so.
Right. I've been away for a while. It's good to see you again. But, I mean, what's on your mind? For me, it's reading this article this morning about how the world fertility rate is declining. It's interesting. Let me just give you that, and then I'll come to you for your... The story is on myjoyonline.com, actually. And it said UNFPA surveyed 14,000 people in 14 countries about their fertility intentions. And it turns out that the world has begun an unprecedented decline in fertility rates. So I don't know who is in that category, but take notice of this. Ladies and gentlemen, your thoughts this morning. I want to start with the lady, obviously.
So, I don't, if I got you right, it's fertility intention. That means the intention to reproduce, essentially. That's what the research was about. It's understandable. It looks like as the world is moving forward and developing, people are moving towards the idea of having less children. I think the economics of it plays a big role. Like, cost of living is high. Now, if you raise kids, the cost of raising kids is also high. Imagine living in Accra, wanting to send your kids to a certain school. So now you plan your reproductive health around your budget. So I think that makes sense with regards to the result of that research.
Thank you. Is there anything else you came with? I mean, I didn't mean to distract you with this.
That's fine. My dress is related to one of the topics I'm sure will come up.
All right. Remy, what about you? Yeah.
Yes, I'll share with my sister's take. I mean, times have changed. Back in the day when people had to have more children, maybe to help on the farm and others, those are long gone. And now people this is ties in with marriage. Less and less people are even not interested in getting married at all.
Yeah.
Those if at all, they will say, okay, I probably want to have a child and just take care of the child myself. So it's more of a social issue. It's quite an interesting research to look at because whatever it is, I mean, it's procreation that keeps humanity alive. So you have a decision where it's quite serious in the West. Yes, many of them are just not interested, and they're quite worried. And that's what leads to an influx of they also are opening their arms to have lots of migrants coming there to do certain work because they have such a high population that is aged. And it's going to have that consequence for humanity going forward. So,
well, thank you.
But for my
1
minute take, I want to use that to address the issue of this man who got jailed for 20 plus years with Atai and was recently freed because it turns out the circumstances under which he was jailed was quite wrong. And he's not the only one. Over the years, we've heard of a lot of such situations. And I've been asking myself, what's going to happen to him? What remedy? Today, I read a piece of he appealing for help to restart his shop. And asking, does the state have any compensation mechanism for such a person? And then what happens to the police personnel who obviously did a very shoddy job in prosecuting him, an innocent person? For all these people, I think there was this justice program some time back that was instituted to help such people who were justly tried. And I don't know what's happening with that, but if it's ended, I think I'll urge the Attorney General and the Justice Ministry to take up this issue again and make sure that all those incarcerated people who are really not supposed to be there
are really free. And then also for our security services, especially for the police, need better training to be able to execute, their mandate in doing their investigation properly.
Yeah.
And then reduce the incident of sending innocent people to jail like this man.
Thank you, Remy. In addition to that, we should have some sort of program to reintegrate these people when they come back from prison.
That's
otherwise,
correct.
they just there's a word for it. It's gives me right now. Yes, recidivism. Yeah. Otherwise they're just coming back to commit crimes and then they're going back there. So let's get into the newspapers. I have the Ghanaian Times newspaper. I want to start there. On the front page, hospitals grind to a halt as nurses, midwives strike escalates. District directors of education to get more powers to improve service delivery at grassroots. That's according to the president. And GHS, CKT, UTAS, CGPC sign MOU to promote professional development. I'll get into that story in a bit. And GLIS PTA concern over growing criminal activities around school. So let's get into the newspaper proper. I'll start with this story here. So GLIS PTA is expressing concern over growing criminal activities around school. And they were addressing the press in Accra yesterday on this issue. He warned that illegal structures erected around the school are now occupied by individuals involved in drug use, prostitution, and other vices, adding that some have even issued threats to the school community after recent demolition attempt. And GLIS is the Ghana-Lebanon Islamic Secondary School. They are issuing this warning that criminal activities around schools is picking up. Let me add one more story and I'll come to you. Doc, I see the look on your face. So, Ghana Armed Forces cautions public against recruitment scams. A very important story. So Ghana Armed Forces has cautioned the general public against falling victim to fraudulent recruitment and enlistment schemes currently circulating across various online platforms and unofficial sources. And this is following a recent surge in fake recruitment, advertisements and social media, which have misled many unsuspecting individuals into some of them paying huge sums of money, to get recruited or enlisted, especially into the security forces, the police and the rest. But these stories for your quick reflections. How do you even characterize the fact that criminal activities are increasing around school environments, Doc?
I think that's been on an uptick for a while. Is almost every week or so you wake up and there's a shooting somewhere, someone is found with a gun.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's that it was happening in the past and it wasn't reported like when we were coming up, or it's now more rampant. That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. But again, it comes back down to us politicians and how we handle things. About last year or last year, when these issues came, there was a deliberate attempt by some of my colleague politicians to try and paint this in political colors and try to blame the previous government's plan and policy to try and make secondary education free, when really it's more of a societal and cultural problem. So as this thing persists, I'm hoping that now we can all sit around the table and be serious about these matters, and we can all decide to be more responsible with the way we go about things. Because if we continue to go down this path, we'll never have any progress. I could have also sat here and said it's because of the way they are handling things now, but I don't even think my conscience would allow that. So it's just a call to everyone to let's begin to call a spade a spade. I don't know what is motivating this new surge of violence and just unruliness in our schools. I don't want to be one of those people that tries to link it to social media or like the more exposure that the younger ones have now. But I think as a society, it's something we need to sit down and then try and get back to having our core values as Ghanaians. We have there's a way Ghanaian society is or has been. We have to try and be deliberate about getting back to those things.
Go ahead.
I think that's all I would have to say on that matter. The first thing you said is something that I also find interesting because it's been in the news for a while now, and it's something that I find very sensitive, the strike of the nurses. One thing I want to sit here and condemn is the approach some of people in government are taking on this matter, trying to taint the executives of the Nurses Council in a certain way, the relentless attacks that they've been receiving over the time, when they are just demanding for, to me, what's his basic rights. I listened to the president of the GRN, the Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, and I could feel their pain. It looks like every time there's like a call by a professional group or an association to get better conditions of service, instead of the government and the people empowered to rationalize, sit with them and come to some kind of workable consensus, it becomes, I don't know, like a shouting match, which in this case I don't think should be countenanced. From what she said, all they seem to be asking for is medical cover. Which is very basic. I mean,
you see, when these issues come up, I like to be circumspect in the way we discuss it. I've listened to the Labour Minister, and he said that, let me quote exactly what he said. He said, this is a new administration, and we are more than shocked. The Labour Minister said he's shocked over the nurses' strike without consultation.
What does he mean by consultation?
He means that this was just sprung on him. He said he's shocked.
Well,
when I read the story this morning,
I'm confused at his response. Whoever is running his PR has to do better for me, because they don't have to consult you. It's an association. It's like GMA coming, sitting together, deciding that this is what we want to do. And what are you?
But there are institutions, there are agencies, there are organizations where you table. Just let me make this point. Where you table these concerns, your grievances, and then there's, it's open for conversation and dialogue. I think that's what's missing.
You don't think that has not been done over the years? These concerns of the nurses and midwives are concerns that GMA also shares. So it's not something new. It's something that has been on the table for a very long time. Discussions are had, it's not taken seriously. There's always a back and forth. These are not new claims. I'm sure even as far back as the first time that the NDC was in government under His Excellency John Mahama, these issues were there. So he cannot behave brand new.
So let me give you more of what the Labour Minister said. He said, for a moment, you hear nurses are going on a strike. Well, we are more than shocked. We are disturbed. We are worried that they could go into a decision of strike without much talk with us. And let me skip to this part. He said that I had a chat with the president, the same guy that you had, waxing lyrical about their issue, said that he had a chat with the president of the Nurses and Midwives Association. I was complaining that they did not have the chance, the opportunity, they did not create the opportunity for me to have an interaction with them before the strike. So the question I'm asking is, if you had all these issues, there is a Labour Minister, there's a Labour Commission, there's so many avenues to address your issues. So you just say that you're going on a strike.
They direct reportedly to the Ministry of Health. So when I started my submission, I said that the way that the government is handling this and some of the commentary that they are bringing out is just unhealthy and it's not going to help the matter in any way. The nurses, doctors, we all are under Ministry of Health if you are in the public sector. So there have been engagements with Ministry of Health over the years.
Are you saying the minister is lying?
No, he's not the Minister of Health, is he?
He's the he's the Labour Minister. So you're talking about the health
they've had decisions with their sector.
But it's also false under his purview.
So he has to escalate it. The employer of the majority of the nurses and majority of doctors in Ghana, the employer is Ministry of Health. When you have labor concerns, you go to your employer first. Is it not so? So if you are the Labour Minister and you find that this also falls in your remit and you want to do something about it, you try to bring them on board and have a discussion. But if you start with this and you invite them to the table, they'll also come apprehensive. Don't you think so?
Okay.
Yeah, so if you are actually trying to solve the problem, there's a better approach to go about it. And as I said, this is not the first time these issues are coming up. It is something that they have even dealt with in their first time in office before. It's something that GMA has also been asking for a very long time, but they've been able to come up with some internal mechanisms that even to me personally, I don't think they are satisfactory. Okay. So if that's all they are asking for, that they should be able to get free medical care where they work. How is that a problem? As it is now, let me explain to you what happens. There are internal systems or relationships people build in the hospital. So if you are sick and say it's an ENT problem, you find your fellow nurse at the ENT department and you hope, like you appeal to the person's conscience. They take you to see a doctor off the books. That's how it's done. You use your relationships. And how should that be the status quo in a country like this? Number one, you are not paying them enough to be able to afford the healthcare. So the least you can do is to reduce their burden by providing the free healthcare. The least you can do is when they've come up with this, try and sit down with them instead of attacking them, sending all the rank and file of your party after them. I've even heard people go as far as to tag the president MPP. Even if she's MPP, what is wrong?
Okay, let's hold for a second. I know that part of their concerns is the government's request to postpone the implementation of their negotiated conditions to 2026. It's the 5th or 6th month of the year. Would it be terribly bad to wait for 2026 for these
They should
terms
wait
to be
another
negotiated?
6 months for their conditions of service.
If you've waited this long.
No.
Would
the conditions of service
be...
that have been implemented, I think somewhere last year, they should wait another year for the government to accede to demands that have already been agreed with the previous government. Let me just quickly,
I have to go to Remy now.
Just give me 30 seconds. Let me quickly land on that. When they wanted to do the D-levy, this government has proven that they have the ability and the will to do things they want to do. When they wanted to give more than almost 300 million to Gold Board, they found a way to quickly do it and pass the Gold Board bill almost in the evening. When they wanted to pass D-levy, they did it. So why is it that the nurses should wait 1 year before? I mean, make it make sense.
Actually, that's a good argument. That the argument you're making is a good one. Remy, so on this nurse, but you have to start from,
the recruitment matter with the Ghana forces. This is a perennial issue, not just, it's virtually with all our security agencies, even with our government institutions. And I'm seeing this from a two-pronged approach. One is, why do people try to skip the lay-down procedures and maybe pay monies to third parties and some of these scammers? It's because they don't have faith and confidence in the recruitment systems that are available to the public. And we've had this call before too, that in treating our security agents especially, given the sensitive nature of the operations, to make their recruitment procedures very transparent. If everyone knows that, okay, maybe 1,000 people applied, and out of 1,000, maybe it was 300 places that are available, and you assure the public there's a portal they have to go and apply with the right procedures, then people have the faith that I don't have to pass behind the scenes. Because, look, we all hear of payments that people make unofficially, and the people talk about it, they get it. Again, let's also look at then, can we look at a situation that can also deter people from making this payment? Because clearly what you're also doing is illegal, you understand? You're making payments knowing very well that somebody says, bring 10,000 cedis, I'll get you into the security police service. I mean, you're paying bribes.
Yeah.
So we need to look at that angle as well and find a means to sensitize the public and make it known that, look, it's a crime. If you're also engaged in this, you're also culpable. I believe these measures will also help bring down these issues.
Doc, I realize you haven't got a bite on that yet. I'll come back to you. Yeah.
And then with the, was it criminal structures around schools? Yes. I mean, all these schools are cited in municipal or district assemblies. And each of these assemblies has a department responsible for unauthorized structures. Again, it's like all these issues we describe are issues that have been ongoing for years, like my sister said. So we need to ensure that these departments are up to the task and running. They are the best people. They know every nook and cranny of every municipality or district that they are in. They know which properties are being built illegally, they know which is illegal. Sometimes, even we had a situation in my community some time back where we had to leave the assembly and then report certain structures because, yes, it was happening to criminals who were taking advantage of them, and using them as hideouts. So the local community the security should liaise with this assembly. If they are overwhelmed, they can also call in for their DISEC to come in and get them to support them, give them the needed support to kick out these people. Yeah, because our children are quite important to us. And if they are roped into drugs and crime at such a young age, then we are just nurturing future armed robbers and criminals who are just going to torment us. Yeah. And on the nursing strike, yes, I understand the agreement was made sometime last year, but it wasn't signed. So to your question of, I mean, yes, if I was a nurse, I wouldn't want to wait another.
But these are questions on the minds of companies. I have to ask.
It's laudable, sure. But I also understand from the part of the government that they are just about, 6 months in. With all this debt restructuring, I can understand why they may be dragging their feet and trying to maybe buy some room, get themselves some space to take care of all these. But we never want that the lives of patients, innocent patients, should be involved in such instances. But here's a call.
Put you on a spot so that we can let me angle the conversation.
Okay.
She made a point that it's a matter of priority. So when the government wanted to pass Gold Board, there's some examples that you made, D-levy and the rest. So it appears that the government is not prioritizing the needs, requests, or demands of these registered midwives and nurses. What do you say to that?
You see, just on my way here, just yesterday, the 3 educational unions have also served a 5-day notice to go on strike. The TUTAG, UTAG, and then CTAG over their research and allowances. So, I mean, like I was saying, it's just a few, I'm sure a few more are also observing and then getting their allowance to also put it in. Yes, the fact is, our government, I agree with her on the matter of priority. Our governments, yes, sometimes don't pay notice to the workforce, which is the lifeblood of the country. And I'll call on them, if they want some breathing space, we need to look at and then make sure that we check the wastage that goes out through corruption. The Minister of Roads was saying yesterday that he's reporting an Indian company that was responsible for one road, Tamale-Savelugu Road, because they took a mobilization fee of $30 million and the work has not been done. And they've actually even filed to terminate the project without showing any work done. Somebody somewhere signed off and made sure they got the money, but made sure that the work was not done. You see, if I were and trust me, these are what our bodies look at. Yes, they talk about it, they get upset because they say, like, look, you are stealing these monies, right? Millions of dollars that's going to waste, and our due is not coming to us. So this is just a friendly advice to our politicians that, you see, take care of the people and then make it a point that, you see, when you come in and then you make it so easy for your cronies and others to get away with corruption, and the millions of dollars are lost to the states. These are monies if they were recouped. These are money if the wastages were sealed. These are monies that could have gone to make all these payments in advance. And we will not have any situation of strikes coming in and then the government seemingly being held to ransom. And very soon, after 5 days, if the government doesn't, they might also go on strike, and then our educational system at the tertiary level will also grind to a standstill. So, I mean, we need to look at both sides of the situation when trying to resolve some of these issues.
Strikes and industrial action. I thought it was the dawn of a new day, but looks like that cycle has not been broken yet. Doc, so the recruitment scam issue.
Yeah, and then you spoke about the gentleman that was falsely accused. So I'll touch on this. So I think with the recruitment scam, he's already said a lot about that. It's just about having systems that work. And I'm quite happy that we are discussing it this morning. So at least anybody that's watching us knows not to pay money. But the problem is that it works for some people. So if you know somebody that got in through that route, you are tempted to believe that these scams will be able to get you results.
But that's criminal in itself,
exactly,
you see, because you're paying a bribe, like he said.
Yes, but you know Ghanaians, we always like to cut.
It's been going on.
Yeah, but let's not normalize it. Let's not say that, well, that's what we do as Ghanaians.
I agree with you. I agree. But ways and means seems to be part of the way we do things. So it would require, as I say, ways and means. It seems to be very much ingrained in our lives as Ghanaians. So that's why people always believe it. But I think it's about time that we all shine our eyes, because it's just like these mobile money scams that have come out. People have decided that they want to take that as their job, to be able to scam other people. So, and I think it also requires a crackdown. If the police starts cracking down on these people, because they don't see it, I don't know if it's that they don't see it as serious crimes or something, but it seems that I don't see so many of them being punished, like these scammers and things. And it's the same. It's similar to someone coming to you with a gun and stealing from you, just that I guess the trauma might be in a different way. And then I'll quickly touch on
just to add one point before you move on. The thing is, how do you even know that someone is paid a bribe? Because everything is done under the table, you know? So there's no evidence to prosecute anyone in the first place. And so everybody just goes. And I think it's time we come together as one and say that we are frowning or we are completely banning these systems. Right. Otherwise, we're going to say, it's done. Connections work, so it's working for somebody. We have to come together and say, no,
the protocol allocations also needs to stop.
It's another one.
Yes, because people know this is going on. We saw some MPs openly putting up pictures of security personnel that they facilitate their recruitment. So somebody sits down and says, okay, I don't have any politician or uncle who can help me in this man. I can't get any protocol. You see, sometimes I understand the people. Yeah, somebody needs a job, wants to get in so badly. Look, trust me, everybody wants a government job. Who doesn't want? Yes. So yes, let's make the system fair. Let's stop the protocol recruitment. I don't have any politician who can help me. You understand? And as a politician, I get people in my community who come to me.
Yeah, it's the expectation. I was going to join that.
Yes, they come
because
to me.
if you're an MP, the people in your constituency have an expectation of you that you help them out with these things. If you don't, it's grounds for removal.
Elsewhere. So even me, that I'm not in power, as a candidate, they come to me.
So that's what perpetuates the thing. It's a two-way street. The politicians are not just sitting there trying to do this. In fact, if you are not able to have enough muscle to get enough slots for your people, they can use it to campaign against you and remove you. So I think it's something that, as you said, we have to, as a society, just change the way we think about these things. Because if you try to be the, let me, prim and proper one, I won't go and get these protocol slots, it will be used against you.
Yeah, but it's also because of the entrepreneur backbone of the country. We all want a job somewhere, you know. You ask me if I want a government job. I want to make my own money. I want to work for myself. You know what I mean? There are so many people who are...
that safety of a government job. Because, hey, you are hardly, even if you underperform, you'll never be sacked. You draw your salary till you're 60.
And for me, I think it branches into so many aspects. Like the creative arts industry, if it was booming, if we're encouraging it, people would not always just want a job somewhere and using ways and means, like you say, to get a job. But you wanted to talk on the incarcerated man.
Because last year during the campaign, it was one of the things that I was very pleased that we were going to introduce if we had the opportunity to serve Ghanaians as government, was our plan to get about 2 legal aid people in every constituency. I think it was every district. So I thought that would have been, first, a great way to employ a lot of the lawyers we are training, and that could also lessen the burden of some of these cases. Because you can imagine if this gentleman did not have the funds or a dedicated lawyer to fight this battle over the years.
Right.
A lot of the people that are stuck there, some they are on remand and they just cannot meet the bail. You know, they just, it would not be that.
See, we are back here again. We are back to who you know and what the person can do for you. I think it just runs through everything in this country.
So we're able to create systems that are able to hold people that will not have the will or any social capital to be able to get themselves out of these. Till we create proper systems, sadly, I don't see it.
This desire that you're expressing, I have to ask, is it idealistic or is it realistic? Can we actually get to a point where we don't depend on people in power to open doors for us?
It starts with idealism. See, somebody has to aspire to do things differently or better, or to create a system that at least is fair for everybody. If nobody aspires to it, then you never get to it. So I do agree, it's very idealistic, because looking at the system now, we are sort of set in our ways, it's ingrained in us. It's going to take a lot of people waking up and saying that we have to try and do things differently. Or we are just going to be talking in circles, and I'm sure in 2 years we'll still be sitting here having these same discussions.
I think just a quick take.
Yes, please.
It starts with the leadership. We need to lead by example. Yes, people are always watching what the leaders are doing. And so if the leaders who are in authority and who are have the means to make these changes that we are calling for, if they walk the talk, if they start, like I said, if there's a promise, they make sure that there are no protocol recruitment. I mean, trust me, when somebody knows that there are no shortcuts for other people and that it's just one laid-down procedure, one transparent laid-down procedure, they will make sure that they comply. Yes, it starts with leadership. Let's hold them accountable.
That brings to mind something I read over the weekend when I was home. The Vulture Awards, Vulture Awards, naming and shaming. Have you heard about it?
No.
So Parliament is set to reintroduce that.
Oh, really?
And they want to introduce a system, an award system, where they name and shame people who are doing terribly, or corrupt people, politicians who are found in corrupt situations, who are, when you are found in a bad situation, underperforming and all that, they just name and shame you. They're calling the Vulture Awards.
I mean, if it's
what do you think about that? I mean,
if it's done properly, it could also become a tool for persecution and character assassination.
I mean, I said Parliament is set to, but it was the Speaker of Parliament rather who proposed it.
So it could easily become a tool for character assassination. Now we are very aware of how things in the country are. A lot of people you expect to be I don't even want to use the word neutral, but you expect them to be speaking without any political inclination, but you sit back and you realize that a lot of these things are all engineered. So if we are not very, very careful, it could be another tool for whoever has the power and authority to be able to control that, to character assassinates their opponents. So I do think it would be very good if we could find a credible, independent body to run that thing. But sitting here in Ghana in 2025, I'm not very confident we are going to achieve the very noble aim that it has set out to achieve. It will be held by certain people that have the power as a tool for political expedience.
Interesting point. The question on my mind, are we actually going to find one politician who is righteous, that he doesn't get named and shamed? Are we actually going to find politicians who are not given the vulture awards?
I
mean, how righteous are we? I mean, righteous is even an extreme.
I do think so. I don't know if you remember, one of the first times we spoke of it was around these things, and I was making the point that, you know, as politicians, we have a bad name or a bad reputation. I think right now it's even all around the world. I can't even limit it to Ghana.
Yeah.
But I do come across some of us who seem to be in it for the right reasons. They are yes, I know you that day you also found it very strange that I thought that, but yes, I do come across people that seem to be in it for the right reasons, people that actually want to work for the good of Ghana. So I do think we will find a few that will not get the vulture awards if it's done right.
Okay. Remy, I want to give you your chance, but let me get into some other stories quickly, just to give us time to usher in our next guest. So still on the Ghanaian Times newspaper, Bank of Ghana sees improvement in financial performance despite loss. An important one that we're going to discuss, because I know that consumer inflation fell to 18.4%, the lowest since February 2022. I'll come to that and we'll discuss briefly. Henley and Partners Grace Arthur wins award, and some more stories here. So we've already spoken about the hospitals grinding to a halt. The Ghana Health Service has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons and the CK Tedam University of Technology and Applied Sciences to promote professional development and improve healthcare delivery in the country. Tema Senior High School wins ECOWAS debate competition. I always like to hear this because I was a great debater back in school. That was the first time I won $100. Wow. Yeah, Marco Girls. It was one of these NCC debates, you know. That was not the award. It was just one of the men who said, wow, you did so good. Here's $100, the first time. Yeah, so government takes steps to shape digital landscape. So let's get into the discussion now. So Remy, you wanted to get a bite. It's a good time to introduce Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. He is CEO of GIFEC. Doc, welcome aboard. You look good.
Grateful. I know we are resetting the country. Let me say good morning to my colleague panelists here, to you, Judy, and then the good people of Bimbila constituency. Williamsey as well. Are we doing well? I wish everybody well. Yes.
Okay, so I'll circle back to you. I want Remy to get a bite at
yeah, just briefly, I think we should rather focus, or we are missing the point. Let's rather focus in on rewarding MPs who do an excellent job for their constituencies.
So you think it's positive reinforcement rather?
Yes, let's look at what challenges they may have, what loopholes that exist, which make MPs not to perform very well. I think it's better to rather focus on a positive mindset and empowering and rewarding mindset regime rather than naming and shaming.
Okay.
And I mean, just to add, just quickly, you see, yesterday the speaker was talking about a draft bill to back check lifestyle audits of public servants, politicians, and others. But we're still saying that they cannot declare their assets openly. So you see, there's one glaring issue that you've left unchecked, and then you are going to bring a new bill to say you're going to check lifestyle audits.
Yeah.
When there's there's an existing tool that can be very effective and used. So I think I see our leaders finding a way to always circumnavigating and the real issues that they need to work on to ensure that they are accountable. We need them accountable. Yes.
So, Dr. Computer, we're just getting into the proposed vulture awards that Speaker of Parliament proposed to name and shame politicians or members of parliament. I don't know if it cuts across all politicians. If they're found to be cut across, to fight corruption, really. What do you make of this? So Dr. Kiamako was saying that it might be a tool for people to use to execute their vendetta. He's saying that we should look at positive reinforcement rather than naming and shaming, corrupt people, corrupt politicians. Dr. Computer, what do you say?
Well, you see, I'm all for it. We have to support this initiative. Ghana, we have a culture, a tradition that we must all guide and protect. Why are we doing that? For generation unborn to come, and even the current generation. The lifestyle that we are living this current generation, the lifestyle they are living, it doesn't mirror our own culture and tradition at all. What we do recently is worship people who has resources. We don't even respect elders these days. If you're an elder and you don't have resources, you don't have money, you are not respected. Your views are not respected. It is the one who doles out money. That's the one they respect. You don't even know how the person got the money. Within the shortest possible time, the person is flamboyantly rich. And everybody is worshiping the person, listening to the person. The person doesn't even make sense in public, but yet we still listen to that rubbish from that person. These are the things we are trying to keep, to protect our tradition and culture. Because, look,
is it a Ghana thing or it's a global thing?
No,
I think rich people everywhere, people like to, bootlick rich people and ignore or neglect wise. It's an African thing, is it not?
You see...
I think it's a world thing.
It's a world thing, eh?
Yes, I agree. But you see, when you are talking of Ghana, we have our unique way of living. Are you getting it? That's why we are against this promoting. Is that not? The promoting is a world thing. The one MPP wanted to bring to Ghana.
So
right. Can we say LGBTQ?
The issue that we are talking now is we have our unique way of living, that we must respect elders, no matter who you are. And that is why if you come to our chieftaincy institution, you can have all the money and come. They won't give it to you. They look at the bloodline. Are you getting it? The one who is qualified, who is supposed to be. Until recently, when money-backed people have infiltrated into the chieftaincy issue, that's where we have problems. So this lifestyle thing is very important. It will help us a lot because, look, we've seen it a lot in this country, where even this thing they are talking about, you'll be here. If we don't stop it very soon, money-backed people will come and take over the presidency. They will take over parliament and they will infiltrate into the judiciary. If you don't take time, they'll go to the security agencies. Because they have the money. They can control everything they want to do. You don't even know where the money is coming from. And also we have young people in this country who are hardworking. In fact, hardworking. They work their ass out to make money. Others don't do anything. Oh. They are just 419, number one in the whole country, 419. And they are making the country dry. Look, recently.
Are you saying that because we are worshipping or we're paying more attention to rich people, that's why we need the Vulture Awards?
No, that's not the one I'm talking. I'm saying people who have worked hard and made their money. That one, they are respectfully. You must give them all the due respect. Right. Because you even need them to teach you how to make the money. Are you getting it? But we are saying that somebody that you don't even know the work ethic of the person, you don't even know what the person is doing. You can't even trace what work the person is doing. And the person is flamboyantly rich.
I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
I'm trying to trace it to the point that we are discussing.
Yes.
What is this about?
The thing is about trying to name and shame. That's why they say the vulture.
Okay.
Are you getting it? So that if you are the type, we look at you, we will look at the kind of work you do. For instance, you know what I'm doing. You know what I'm doing, another thing. If just within a year or two, you see me exhibiting some kind of affluence, won't you question, where are you getting these resources from? Where are you getting that money from? Because we know how much you take, and we know what you are worth for, and you know what you've been doing over the years. Are you getting it? Yes. Before I built my own house, I worked for almost 15 years as a lecturer teaching. Then somebody will come within a year or two, the person has about 5 houses.
But I know it's possible.
How possible is it?
I know young men that I went to school with who have built houses, who are living lavishly, not because they did any sort of juju or corruption, but because they worked and they know how to use or milk their industry. Some of them are in music, mostly in the creative arts industry. I'm telling you. So I know very young people whose lives turn around in 2 years. So what about those people?
I am not against it. That's why I said those people must be praised. We must praise them. For instance, if you see the young man Shatawale in school, look at what they are doing. They are doing fantastic. Fantastic in the music industry. They are making it. Are you getting it? Such a person, how will you go and worry him talking about issues like that? Everybody can easily see. But I'm talking of somebody you can't even trace whatever the person is doing. The person comes here and tell you that he started with some 1 CD, or he sold some old shoe and started doing this. Right, I mean, what kind of thing is that?
Okay, so you are for the voucher
Yes,
board.
me, I'm for it. Let's try, because we are protecting our generation unborn. And we must protect our tradition and culture. That is why Ghana, you see, one thing about Ghanaians, I love it, is that, you see, we are the farmer Nyamita, but that doesn't mean we should allow these ill-gotten people who have gotten ill resources to destroy our democracy. In fact, it has something to do with our democracy. This monocracy that we are facing in our parties, and we can't even get good people to now represent political parties across board.
But I think our democracy is strong enough to resist oligarchy. No?
How? Because
that is when the wealthy people are the ones running things.
We started this thing around 2001, 2002, when President Kufuor came into office. That was the time Ghana started monocracy in democracy. Look, we in 1992.
Okay,
I want to give you something. Why we are having this?
We have to move on. We've stayed on this for long.
People, they started monocracy and created a problem for us in this country.
I want you to talk about the nurses and registered midwives strike, and we also spoke about the increasing scams, recruitment and enlistment scams going on. Ghana Armed Forces issued a directive saying saying that people should be careful out there. So these 2 points, please make a quick reflection on these.
Yeah, well, I'll take this opportunity to appeal to our nurses. They are brothers and sisters. You see, this is a new government. We have goodwill with the people, and that we want to make sure that let's reset. We are on the reset path. A lot of things went wrong. This thing that they are talking of didn't start this regime. It started under NPP. They didn't have their voice to go on strike or other things under NPP. It started in your first regime. The NPP it started in NDC's did all these things and make sure that a lot of them were suffering at home. Now we came in, they supported us to come, and we are trying to reset and organize and make sure that they have what is due them. I see it will take time to do this, and I have all respect, maximum respect for our Honorable Minister, Akando. He's doing fantastic. Young man, go there and see what he's doing. Trying to reset.
Dr. Kiama
we are appealing for them.
Is giving you a rebuttal. She says that it started under your regime, not
the first one. Conditions of service discussion started in President Mohammed's first term. The minister at that time told GMA that if we don't accede to their demands, they'll go and bring doctors from Cuba. That is what you told us the first time. So don't. I knew that when I knew you were coming here. Hey. I knew he was going to go on the path of serious propaganda. But today I'm here. I will not allow you.
Let's have a conversation. So I think I remember reading that threat to bring in nurses and doctors from Cuba. But you said that it started under their regime.
So that's we signed the conditions of service for GMA.
Dr. Equia.
We did it for GMA.
When we did something in 2016, we lost the election in 2016. Is that not true? NPP came to power in 2017. Is that not true? Why should you go and repeating something that happened?
We didn't repeat
I am saying that you dealt with it. If you dealt with it, why are they striking now? And I'm saying that NPP are the type, when they are whistling, just wait, they will sing song. We know how they are. That's why they got 38%. You see,
I knew you would do this.
This thing, we know them very well. And we are saying that they are the one causing distance. Some of them, remnants of them are still in there, pushing this our innocent brothers and sisters.
Okay, so that's the past. Right now, they're saying that hospitals have come to a standstill. Patients need doctors. I mean, for the public hospitals, that's where really the problem is. The private hospitals, I visited some hospitals over the weekend, and the private ones are working. But we have to deal with this.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that we are appealing. You see that I'm using your platform to appeal to them. We are not arrogant like them. We are not arrogant like the NPP
they can't use
to call off their bluff. We are appealing, and that is why government.
So what's the challenge there? The
issue
you came, there was an argument that
yes.
It's about priority. That there are things that you fast-tracked because it was more important to you than the demands that these nurses and midwives are making. What is the challenge with implementing an agreed term of service?
Well, that's why we are saying that the team is still working behind the scene. The minister is on top of issues, talking to them. The leadership, they are, as we speak now, is going to engage them again. The leadership over this matter. Are you getting it? Not that we have just folded our arms and said we are not doing anything about it. Government is so much serious about issues of health. And that is why His Excellency, you see, he has the benefit of the hands. I always tell them, and they don't know. He coming back. He's coming to right the wrongs of all MPP that they did. The 8 years wrong they did. You caused a lot of deaths in this country.
Because what?
Because of your policies.
Oh, please.
A lot of people that were the business tycoon died. He was there on live TV
please.
telling people to collapse his business, and that caused him to die. And see, all these things are there. And we are saying we don't want Ghanaians to lose their lives. So we are appealing to the nurses. We are appealing. As a government, we respect them. This is a respectful government that respects every Ghanaian. The liberties of Ghanaians are respected. And we are saying that let's do justice to our brethren who are sick in the hospital. Let's go and serve them. Whilst negotiation will continue, we shouldn't shut them off and say because of this negotiation, we are not going to treat them. Let's go and treat them first, while negotiation will continue. Because the minister gave his words yesterday. He told them point blank that, look, I am committed to whatever you are asking for. But let's come to the table and then judge. Because it's a matter of, this was not negotiated by the NDC government. It was negotiated by these people.
So that's,
but they ran away from it. That's it. I say it was negotiated by these people.
Is that it
they
was
couldn't
not
implement
your administration that negotiated the text.
Yes, they did it, then ran away from it and refused to implement it.
How did they run?
Oh, but she asked her, she knows what I'm talking about. And I'm saying that these things that we are talking of, we are not going to sidestep them and then just rub shoulder of them and say that no, we're not going to do anything for you. We are going to make sure that they get whatever they want. But you see, they must also listen to government side.
All right.
This government is less than 6 months. We are just getting to our 6 months. And a lot of goodies has come.
So, Dr. Mwako, you have to, you had said you wanted to say something in response. Do that for me in 30 seconds. We have more stories. 30 seconds.
I will try my best. You see, I was listening to my good friend, Dr. Rashid, when he was going on. And as I said, I wasn't surprised. I knew what tangent he would go on. But I see, when I hear people stuck from the PNDC era talking about these property audits and all of that, honestly, it scares me as a child that's very much aware of their very terrible history. Not too long ago in this country, it was a crime to have too many pieces of cloth, and they will put you on a table and lash you. So when I hear stuff like that coming from you, honestly, it scares me. Munjai. The second one on the issue of these nurses and the matter of these nurses. Again, you see, when I started my submission, I said it's the way they are handling this problem. How is this an MPP matter? So after you guys have been in government for 2 years, 2 years from now, the problems, who are you going to blame it on? The shoe is on your foot. We expect you to come up with solutions. We negotiated these conditions of service with them. It was settled. All you have to do is come and implement. There was some time ago I came here to talk about the GMA car waiver conditions of service matter. Another thing, they want to behave like government is a continuum. When you sign a contract with Ministry of Health, it doesn't say NDC Ministry of Health or MPP Ministry of Health. So that excuse doesn't wash.
All right.
I'm sure in your department at GIFEC, funds have been released to you, but the nurses should wait at home till next year. Really? Is that what you are telling the hardworking nurses of this country?
All right. So here's a story I want us to get into. OSP versus Ken Ofori-Atta. Trial without the accused is a betrayal of justice, says Samson Ladia-Yanine. And that story is on myjournline.com. In fact, that you have it on your screens here. So I just want to bring out a quote. He says that the law does not allow me the option to hit and run, nor does it permit charges to be filed in my absence. Never in the first instance. That is his argument. And he made it clear that the legal system is very clear and it has established procedures for dealing with criminal conduct. So what I want you to drop a pin for me, Dr. Kyamako. I want to start with you.
I don't.
First of all,
I don't even understand.
First of all, why is the arrival of Ken Ofori-Atta into this country to face justice? Whether or not he will be, found culpable, it's up to the justice system and how the trial will go. But why is it so difficult to get him here? And now the arguments pouring in about whether or not he should be tried in absentia.
So I was just trying to quickly, because, I'm not a lawyer, so that will not roll off my tongue. So I just wanted to clarify before I started. And I am seeing that trial in absentia is done in this country. In the High Court of Justice held in, I've seen there's precedence of this trial in absentia. In fact, they said Nam Tamaklo, when she was still going through the processes of trial, she ran away, and then the conviction came when she was out of the jurisdiction. So that's just to tell Samson that if the OSP has a case, they can go to court and try him in absentia. There's nothing in our laws to bar that. Number two, to your question as to why he can't,
why it's become such a challenge,
what's not, and all of that. See, when I'm talking about these matters, I like to be very, very careful and walk a very, very thin line. whatever anybody has done that might be untoward or might be criminal, I do believe that those are some of the very few benefits of change of governments. Because when you change governments, there are problems with continuity, and this new government will come and tell you that they didn't sign the agreement with you, so wait 1 year. Those are some of the problems. But the positives are that, you know, things can be investigated, albeit there's a huge tint of persecution with these things, but at least a lot of the things that people might have brought distrust into the system can be investigated. So I am not against investigations if there's cause for it. But it's the way the OSP is going about it. It's beginning to look as if it's a personal problem or it's a personal vendetta. First, I don't think he has issued like an arrest warrant or something. Is he calling for the arrest of Kenneth Oriata?
In fact, there's been a red notice on Interpol.
Yeah, but the red notice is for, it's basically for an interrogation or something like that.
Yes, he's now a subject of an Interpol red notice on corruption charges. There's no arrest warrant.
No. There's no arrest warrant.
He shared, I saw something yesterday from that they got from the Supreme Court way back in February.
No. But by the Interpol notice, there's no arrest warrant. They want to...
Oh, no. I think you're right. The OSP does have an arrest warrant.
So why is it not on the Interpol notice?
I think that's a different thing, right? The Interpol red notice so that wherever he is, whoever finds him can bring him here.
He would have said it. I have not heard that, so it's something we would have to check. So I was watching Joy News some time ago, and Sami Darko was here, and he was saying that they need him to come and answer questions. And we all know every suspect or something like that has a right to not incriminate themselves. So they have the right that he will come and not say anything. So that's also there. So if you do believe that you have all your ducks in a row, everything is set, you have all your evidence, what is stopping you from proceeding to court and then filing a case against Kenneth Oriata?
All right.
And he has been able to say that he is unwell. You know, that's the whole bone of contention. He has been able to say he's unwell, he's unfit to return to the jurisdiction. So bear with him and give him some time. We were all here when the OSP went to the UK or something to interview on President Mohammed's Airbus saga. They didn't put an Interpol notice on them, did they? He went there to go and talk to them before he issued the love letter to them.
Your argument is that in both cases, whether to be tried in absentia or not, there's a precedent for that.
Yes.
And whether or not the OSP can go and find him wherever he is, there's a precedent for that. All right.
And then if he's doing all of this, where is Sedinam Tamaklo on this matter? Because she has been tried and convicted.
Thank you. Point made. Dr. Tango Computer, I want you to discuss this Interpol red notice for me within the context of Operation Recover or Loot. Exactly what is the strategy here? Because it appears the man we can't find him as we speak. What is the strategy here?
Dear, this country, we must call a spade a spade. You see, this kind of thing we are doing in this country, it's not good for the generation and the generation unborn. Dr. Equia,
yes, dear.
Are you comfortable somebody using $58 million to sink a hole, just big hole for you? Is that what you want to run a country?
I know
it's a rhetoric question to you. You shouldn't answer. You know it. It's $58 million. Do you know what it can do for Ghana? Just even $1 million. These nurses that they are talking about, their benefits, what they are looking for, $1 million alone. Do you know what it can do for them? Somebody with 55, count 1, 2, 3, up to 58 million of that dollars.
But Doc, he's not. He's not guilty.
No, hold on. Suspect. I am saying that these are charges.
Yes.
He should come and answer charges on this. That's one aspect.
Okay.
Just one. There are several. His cases are so mountainous that his lawyers have advised him not to come. Do you know that one of them in one of your shows?
Say that on authority?
I'll tell you on authority. Do you know that on your platform here Saturday, one of the lawyers in Ghana, in fact, he's not a lawyer, but an associate of them.
How is he an associate?
Mentioned it. He said it. That left to him, he will advise him not to come. Saturday, it was here. He said it here on your platform. They know because of the nature of the crimes, alleged crimes perpetrated against the good people of Ghana.
But it's also because the conversation is now about impartiality and political motivation.
That's why I'm coming to. Sometimes when my friends in MPP talk, I look at them in some eagle eyes. The hypocrisy they're in. Was it not there are 95 of them, members of parliament, who stood in parliament and told His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo to sack Kenneth Oriata? Where from this hypocrisy? Whether or not the MPP MPs, 95 of them.
led by the one who is now the lawyer for Wontumi.
So now incompetence is
and I'm saying that this one, it started under their regime because they saw what the man was doing was against the state of Ghana. And it was going to make sure that MPP would lose. And thank God they got 38%. Because they knew what the man was doing was very bad. Apart from that, let's put that one aside. SMLG, you were in this country. Even under their regime, Nana Akufo-Addo set a committee that to investigate that matter. But because Nana Akufo-Addo was noted for whitewashing all manner of things, he would write love letters to people who are alleged to have committed crimes against the state before even investigation will start. We didn't see the end of this SML matter. And the man is here. That is why they were finding it difficult to make sure that Wontumi is given a hefty bail bond because they are fond of running away. As soon as they get a small chance, they will run away. Look, I'm talking of the former finance minister. When he was eventually removed, do you know what they did? They appointed him as an international finance minister for the state. Was that not what you people did? You see, for MPP, I don't understand. In fact, Ghanaians next time should just give them 30%. This party, for a very long time, they are noted for this kind of behavior.
But you know that at this point in time, though, yes, if you keep talking about what the NPP did, and it sounds as if we are still you're trying to win an election. We voted for the NDC.
That is why we are chasing them
in power. And now we are talking about procedural breaches, we are talking about political motivations, we are talking about whether it's a vendetta, manhunt. And I'm asking that, what is the strategy here? Because the NPP are saying that you are using ways and means to bring this man that, in fact, are not procedural in terms of what the Constitution mandates you to do.
What is wrong with the OSP asking that, come home, face justice? What is wrong with that? Is it not the same Nana Akufo-Addo, his former president, His Excellency, who made a statement that all appointees should stay in the country and face the music? Was the NDC who put gun on his head to make that statement? So why some appointees are running away?
So that's the question that Dr. Marco is asking. Yes, that so what prevents the OSP from going to get the way they've done it in the past? What prevents the OSP from going to get?
You see, people are comparing oranges with apples. They are not the same. They are different. They look completely different.
Why?
Under your regime, MPP, you had all the state machinery to prosecute former appointees of His Excellency John Dramani. You were even going after him, he himself. When the Constitution stated the number of years a former president can be investigated, you people sidestep it and were going around looking for him. He was in the country. He never ran away. He stayed throughout, campaigned throughout, nothing happened. We are saying that, look, the man, you see, the Red Alert, the Interpol, Dr. Ekuya, they are looking for him. They will arrest him for him. They will arrest him and bring him for us. We need him in Ghana. We have told them. That's why it's on red alert. You see, there's red alert, yellow, and then you come to... He's on red. He's a high target person. They are looking for...
You know, you haven't actually said anything about how this sits in the context of Operation Recover All.
No, it's it.
And what the strategy is.
The strategy now is this. The strategy now, I'll tell you.
His family accusing the NDC of suppressing human rights.
Them that you
they have so many accusations. Abuse of power.
They are just using words. They just got somebody to write something for them to come and put it there. If that is what you are going to use to fight crime in this country, then God save Ghana. I'm saying that $58 million is not chicken cheap.
All right,
that's one. Let me land here. I'll land here by one and I'll tell you. The Operation Recover All Loot, our process right now is to target the loot and recover it for the state before we now put you behind. That is why we are going to do this time. We are not going to allow them to come and enjoy the booty after 5 or 10 years in prison. That is their plan. Most of them, their plan is that, oh, in any case, if they put me inside, it's just going to be 5 years or 10 years. I'll come out and I'll still enjoy all them. This time it won't happen. We are going to go after the loot and recover all of them. In fact, if you think that the man should steal in the United States, the last thing that we'll do is to target all the properties that the man is having. Everywhere, and then make sure that they should freeze them. Freeze everything that he has in this country. All right. His business decision should be frozen. So that will force him to come.
You are in between the two of them right now. Yeah.
I'll start with a statement Dr. Ekuya made. Dr. Marco, right? Mm-hmm. So you were talking about Sedinam's case. In her situation, she actually started a trial.
Yeah, I said that.
Here. Okay. It's just that she asked for...
Yes, she tried. She ran away and then she left.
She didn't run away.
She ran away, so bring her back.
It wasn't started in absentia.
Yeah, I said that.
But then I will still ask the Attorney General to walk the talk, lead by example. And it's important that, yes, in order not to seem like a persecution, somebody has been convicted in the previous government. You are in authority now. So Dr. Tanko, I'll pass this on to you. Please, let's take steps to also extradite the lady here. And let's see that the laws are working, not just for MPP, but for NDC as well. Okay? Now, in Ken's case, yes, I think was it in February or so, his lawyers assured the OSP that because of his medical situation, they will produce him by 2nd June. That was the letter they brought. And the date comes, and then, according to the OSP, they did not notify him that, okay, for whatever reason, that surgery that we thought would happen back then did not take place. Okay? So for that matter, we are requesting a reschedulement. And yes, we are all very much interested in Mr. Ofori-Atta. I mean, nobody wants any witch hunt, but the charges are quite grave. The amount of monies involved are quite huge, and we wouldn't want these monies lost to the state.
All right.
So in the interest of justice, and in his own interest, I mean, I can imagine the damage, the reputational damage this matter, especially the red notice, would have caused him as an individual and also to his businesses. So in order to clear his name, I believe it's in his own interest to make sure that, I mean, he makes himself available and come in and then set the record straight. If he has, I'm sure as a former finance minister, he would have all the relevant documentation covering all these contracts and the projects for which he's wanted by the OSP to come and answer the charges. And I wouldn't want this to be politicized about an MPP NDC matter, but it's about the states, it's about our money. So if it's found that, yes, anyone is culpable, yes, and then for me, I'm interested more in the recovery of the monies to the states and then being used for legitimate people than going in hard to go and jailing people. Let's pursue our avenues to recover whatever monies can be recovered, because it's just too much. The Cathedral 58, then and the SML contract and all others. We are talking about hundreds of millions of dollars here. And we want to ensure that, and also a precedent to be set. You see, like I said earlier about the loopholes, talking about these voucher awards, it's similar to what I'm saying. Let's see the loopholes which give our appointees that freedom to sort of waste money, you see, so that we won't have a case where there's a change of government or after they've gone off, we're now going after them, trying to witch hunt them. There have been this ambulance. There was an ambulance scandal in the NDC time. There's another one for which Ofori-Atta himself is wanted. Yes. What is it in our governance system what are the loopholes that allow these ministers to sidestep the checks and balances and then sign these contracts? Sometimes on the blind side of Parliament, there are sometimes some contracts that are supposed to go for parliamentary approval. It's not done, and contracts are awarded. You understand? So these are things we also need to look at, address as we are pursuing these cases.
Okay, so let's talk about, but before we move on, I think that this is the optics are important, Dr. Computer, because I know that the OSP standpoint is the need for accountability, right? Like you also said, that it's about recovering our money and all that. But minority standpoint or the NPP standpoint is also due process, constitutional safeguards. And in fact, it's back to due process, the paramountcy of due process. There are so many things that has happened in the processes so far that they can point to and say that you have not been fair to us. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh.
So it's like a fine intersection between that. Need for accountability, but due process and constitutional safeguards. Otherwise, we're going to set precedents that next administration comes, they will say that because you've done this, like she's citing precedents for you right now. Anyway.
They should point out any one breach that has occasion in this process. None. None.
Well, the first one is they said no charges were filed before the fugitive label. That is the first one I remember.
No.
Right?
No.
Now we know that there's an arrest warrant.
No,
then there was the home raid. Then there was the home raid.
Yeah.
There was the, enforcement. I'm looking at it right now.
There was the details of his medical condition. There have been several lapses.
Refusal to accommodate a video conference appearance request, calling the insistence on in-person questioning overly punitive and lacking legal basis. That was in response to his request for a video conference and all that.
They are looking for luxury prosecutorial processes. We won't give them. The state has no that laxity to give you luxury. You sit down at the comfort of your room and say they should investigate you through video conference. What kind of thing is that? Is it only in Ghana that fugitives will give this kind of order to state security I want to lie in my room, enjoy myself with my air condition, investigate me through video call. What kind of thing is that? When they were looking for power, was that what they did? When you wanted to take care of the state resources and run the country the way you ran it, was that what we were doing? You see, this thing we must say to their faces, that kind of thing, you see, we are pampering them too much. That is what we are saying. We are pampering people, and that is why they are getting away with this. And I'm so happy the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has given all the authority to the security agents to do their way. He doesn't want to interfere in their matter. And that's why, as a party, NDC, we are also not interfering. We just want to look, if you are also found and they are dealing with you, they should deal with you in that matter. And that is why I'm saying that, because His Excellency John Dramani Mahama eyes on every facet of our life. Appointees, 6 months down the lane, have you seen any scandal in this?
All right.
And I'm saying that, look at them. Have you seen any scandal? When they were in office for one,
just for the first time, one Ghana cedi has become a subject for controversy. Every time I hear one Ghana cedi is to say, oh, cedi. But now one Ghana cedi has become a very topical issue. Yes, you know what I'm talking about? The D-Levy. Yes. You know, so I know that you have your reservations about that. I want to start with Remy because he seems to be a neutral person here this morning. Remy.
Yes, sweetie.
I mean, for me, I've been following the argument. Remember I said I'm resuming work today. I've been following the argument, and it's about, is it because the value of the cedi right now is working in our favor? Is that why we think one cedi, taxing one cedi on every fuel purchase is okay? What do you say about this? Or, you know, in fact, give me a comprehensive assessment of this D-Levy thing for me.
Yes, I think it's coming at the after the transport fares were reduced. That's one angle. That's also important. You remember the transport union also threatened that they were going to go on strike. But yesterday, their period said that per their engagement with the government, they've assured them that it's not going to affect the price of the fuel. So they're also adopting a wait-and-see approach for the next 2 weeks. But again, we're all happy about the fall of the cedi, the dollar rather. It's making life more enjoyable for all of us. I wouldn't go into who's going to take whether MPP or NDC. We thank all of them. It's a good thing we enjoy. That's what governance is about, and that's what we want. But then I want to look at why the reason for this energy levy coming at this time. It is to sort of help deal with the losses we're having in our energy sector. Again, I'll say that we are still trying to cover up rather than deal with the real issues. We have ECG that's incurring so much losses in their operations. I think it's about 30%. Is what they are unable to recover. So much money, so much wastage in the system. And what I'm not happy about this levy is that we, the citizens, are being made to cover up for these inefficiencies.
But who should?
It is the relevant authorities. We have there's a board for ECG. There's a management team for ECG. It begets. I mean, why is it that over the years we have not been able to solve this wastage of money in ECG? It seems to feed into the narrative that somehow, you see, some people are benefiting somewhere. Look at what happened with the container issues. Later, the minister comes around to say that they've been found. And later he's saying that ECG, as far back as 2019, they found some Indians who said that they've been buying cables from ECG. So clearly, some people are profiting at our expense and ensuring that these wastages occur. And you're asking us, me and you, to pay for these deficiencies. That's not fair. Because then you are not solving the problem. So what guarantees do we have? One, for how long will this levy be in place? That's something that I would expect the Parliament to tell us. For how long will this be in place? How long are we going to keep paying? And what assurance are we going to have that after we've paid these levies for over a period of time, it will actually plug the loopholes? What assurances do we have that in 3, 4, 5 years to come, another government will not come and also say that let's put in another levy to also help the same energy sector? So I believe that we need to look at the root causes of the issue and address it, and ensure that there's efficiency in the system, and then there's a reduction in the wastage of money in the system, so that innocent citizens are not penalized and actually pay levies to cover up.
Thank you for those points. So, Dr. Kiyamako, I want Dr. Computer to be the last because he's in government.
No.
He has he gets the final. I want to hear your issues and then I can let him respond to them and then we can.
I know the tangent that he will go on with some serious propaganda. You see, and
he has the answers, Dr. Computer. So we are coming to you for answers. Let's hear your questions. Let's hear your questions for the government on this D-levy thing.
It's just the way they do things. The NDC. The way they do things. You see, they will never come to you with very comprehensive solutions to the problem. So no, this person is a thief. Kick them out. This tax is bad. They'll propagandize the whole thing without providing any cogent solutions to the problems. That's why they are in this hot mess right now. Because they spoke so much about the electronic levy, the e-levy, which was about 1%. You know, when you look at the effects it was supposed to have on Ghanaians and the amount that was raised, I think something along the lines of 2 billion. They said so many things. The taxation is not the answer. I remember watching the Honorable Atufosin's vetting. So I wonder how he feels when he watches those videos back now, because I'm sure even at that time they knew they were going to bring this Dumsor levy. It's so disingenuous. Anyway, let me go on straightly and look at the very high rates that they've put this tax on. I've heard some of them make some very biased arguments on this matter regarding where the fuel cost was at a point in time and where it is now. When this year started, when the fuel price was quite high, we were buying fuel on the international market at over $80. Now it is somewhere $60. So the cost of the country buying fuel has reduced. So obviously, it doesn't take a mathematician or a soothsayer to expect that the cost that we are buying fuel at the pumps should reduce. So that would happen. But we all know the volatility of the international markets when it comes to international crude. So now it might be 60, but by December, you cannot assure that it will be 60. Sometimes it goes to as high as 120 per barrel. So what's the mathematics that Ghanaians should focus on is X plus 1 cedi. It is not what it is now, 14 plus 1 cedi, never. Because when it goes up, right now when you add the 1 cedi, even at what they are putting us at our highest, when fuel was at the highest, it's only giving them an allowance of 1 cedi left to match what they are saying as our worst record. So just if the price of fuel increases by 2 cedis at the pump, Ghanaians will be paying 1 cedi more than the worst performance of MPP. That did not even last for up to a month. That's price that he will come and talk about right now. People did not endure it for even up to a month. Okay. So this is something that we must all come together and ask them why they are doing this to us. About 8% from the start. You couldn't start with a shorter. So why did you even remove the e-levy? That's the first question I have. If it's to remove the e-levy and in the middle of the night just clandestinely come and impose very huge draconian taxes on the people of Ghana, why did you remove the e-levy? Right. They lambasted us about no consultation, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you in the media were made aware that this Dumsor levy was about to be put on our heads, because me, I did not, by the time I saw it, Parliament had even passed. I didn't even know they could be so quick as to things like that. And this circles back to what we were talking about earlier with the nurses. That one, they've gone to do sharp, sharp, sharp. Gold board money, almost 300 million. All right. Sharp, sharp, sharp.
Like I said, Dr. Computer has the answers. I have someone else who has questions that wants to bring it in. So we have the Member of Parliament for Asin Manso, so ranking member on the Energy Committee in Parliament, Mr. George Kwame Abuaje. Sir, thank you for joining the conversation. So far, I have 3 questions that I've noted. They say, how long will this levy be implemented, the cost of fuel, and why remove the e-levy? But we also know that he held a press conference yesterday saying that you're going to sustain a campaign to vehemently protest this D-levy, like we're calling it. Let's understand exactly what your stance is on this matter.
Good morning, my sister. Yesterday, we had a press conference, and after the introduction of the new levy that came on last week, we had a press conference yesterday just to let the government know that there are some challenges they should have gone through before introducing the levy. Okay, there was no any stakeholder consultation. That is one. The president has said it somewhere in Abidjan at the CEO summit in Abidjan that the levy that the money that will accrue from the levy will be paid the energy sector debt. The energy minister also said they are going to use it to buy fuel to power the generators. And then I think the quantum also is high. So we gave some alternatives yesterday. So this is our stand. That's all.
So hold on for me. I'll come back to you. Let me let Dr. Computer give us some answers. So, Doc, first question. Why did you remove the e-levy when you knew that there were some shortfalls in revenue and you would need to show up revenue, especially in the energy sector?
You see, to answer this question, it's a straightforward thing. NPP, I told you, when they are whistleblowers, they will sing song. When we said we wanted to remove e-levy, didn't they also put it in their manifesto that they were also coming to remove e-levy? Didn't they say they were also coming to remove it? You see, Dr. Akuya, you are here.
I'll respond, don't worry.
How are you going to respond on this?
I'll respond.
Why should they even talk about e-levy now? Both political parties, we said it was a bad levy. And therefore, we're going to remove it from the book. Because of digitalization. If you are talking of digitalization, you want to digitize the economy. You don't go taxing digital platforms at distance.
Okay, so let's
that was
do
one
this a rapid response.
And then a rapid one. And I'm saying that, you see, about this energy sector thing, we must face it. And I just want to give you an analogy. Me, I'm a parent. I have a lot of kids. If I don't have money in the house, then I go to the bank and borrow 1,000 cedis to feed them today. Tomorrow I go back to the same bank, bring another 1,000 to feed them. They are happy in the house that I'm feeding them, but they don't know that I'm creating a lot of problem in the bank. The third day I go to the bank say, we don't have money to give you. You are a bad debtor. You have not been paying your debt.
Okay,
if I don't bring money to the house,
Mr. Waji is asking,
will the children eat again?
Okay, hold on. Mr. Waji is saying that there was lack of consultation. And I want you to respond to that and I'll go back to
consultations? No, there was. In fact, if you look at the memorandum of understanding that went into Parliament, he's an honorable person. They were in Parliament. They saw it. Government didn't just reel through it just like that. Government thought through it and realized that, look, the mounting debt on the energy sector was so huge that we can't continue this way. We can't continue behaving like ostriches.
Okay, so he's a member of Parliament saying no consultation. We've listened to drivers say no consultation. Some energy players are also saying that there haven't been any consultation. So who exactly? No, it's a straightforward question. No, who did you consult?
Government did consultation.
With who?
With the relevant bodies involved in this energy sector.
Does that mean those who were not consulted were not relevant?
Look, no, they are. For instance, haven't you seen that a leverage has been given to them in terms of implementation when they ask for it? That's why GPRT, we see that they've suspended their destiny. Okay. Because we've respected their views and said, no, we will make sure that
Mr. Waji, Dr. Computer is saying they consulted relevant stakeholders. But the question I want to ask is, do you see the policy objective clearly in terms of why this de-levy is necessary? And exactly what, I mean, aside the lack of consultation that you're decrying, exactly what concerns do you have if this de-levy is going to show up the revenue gaps we have in the energy sector?
5 minutes to explain things to you. 5 minutes.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. When you check Ghana, or you compare Ghana with its West African peers, I'm talking about, let's say, Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire tariffs and Ghana's tariffs, our tariffs are higher than Cote d'Ivoire. That is one. Cote d'Ivoire GDP is higher than ours also. Madam, South Africa generates power. They use coal. Ghana generates power. Our generational mix, we use about 68 to 69% of it as for thermal, uses fuel. Which country does that? That is one. Because yesterday we said all these things and we gave an alternative. Okay, which country goes through this stage using thermal generation over 68, 69%? That is not first. We all agree with what is at stake, that we have to do something about that. And doing something on it is not the 1 cedi they're putting on the levy. I'm asking my brother who is there, whether the 1 cedi will solve the problem at the, on the generation aspect. It won't solve anything at the power sector. The 1 cedi won't solve it. That's why we are saying the government needs to consult, okay, so that we all find amicable solutions to the the problem at the power sector. It's not about the one city. You know, one city is too much. Yes, the impact to Ghanaians also is huge. So we are saying, let's consult. He was saying they consult the relevant bodies, which means Parliament, we are not relevant. Because it came to Parliament, straight ahead, we saw the finance minister announcing it on the floor of Parliament without even consulting even our leadership. No. So does that mean the minority is not relevant? That's not what we are talking. There is a huge challenge at place, which we need to solve that challenge. We talk about lawsuits, okay? That's the transmission and commercial losses and technical losses of both transmission and distribution, which we need to find solution to this. No country loses about 35% of its transmission and distribution losses and survive. It has been going on for long. So this is the time, if we are ready to solve this problem, we need to solve it. Okay? The previous government was using about $500 million to pay capacity charges alone. The former president started renegotiating for the capacity charges to what at the normal parlance they call take or pay, to take and pay contract, which if you don't use, they don't generate power, you don't pay. This is what we have to do and bring more renewables in our generational mix. Without this, the one city they are fighting now for, my brother and my sister, they will come back. I promise you, market. They will come back. If they don't sit down and we find a solution to the teeming problem at the power sector, they will come back again that, no, this is important. No, this is important. Yes, everything is important. But going forward, in a country like Ghana, using thermal generation over 68%, it's not. This is what we are talking about. That we have to sit down and find solution to this problem.
Okay, thank you. Hold for me. I'll try and get you some answers. So, Dr. Computer, he's saying that this is a quick fix instead of structural reforms. What's your response to that?
Great. See, when he was talking, let me thank him for going straight to the issue. If they had added this to their press conference yesterday, I don't think we'll have problems with them. They know the problem. They know these are the things I'm talking about. You see, Dr. Kuya, your people, they know the truth. Just that you do propaganda a lot. What he just said is different from what they did yesterday, the press conference. Because the issues, he has made it bare. He has actually hit
So, Mr. Waja, is saying that all these were detailed in your press conference yesterday?
Oh, I am saying that the issue about...
So perhaps you misheard or didn't hear, listen throughout?
The truth of the matter is...
I can send you a copy of the press conference.
Yes, I'd appreciate that.
The propaganda aspect of you talking about e-levy and comparing that one to the energy levy thing that we are trying to do, it's quite different. That's what we are telling you. You cannot go on that tangent. When the ranking spoke, and then my good friend, then information minister who became the Kojo Opon Nkrumah. He was doing propaganda throughout about the e-levy thing and talking about it and trying to describe it as if we were against it.
I want to pin you to a point. He says that the one city is a quick fix and that you will come back. Instead, look at structural reforms like your mode of, method of generation, energy mix. Instead of thermal, look at renewable, look at coal, look at so many other options.
These are all issues.
No, but does he have a point?
I'm saying that these are issues on the table. For 8 years, they didn't see any of this.
We started.
And I'm saying that for 8 years, they didn't have these ideas. And I'm saying that, look, we are trying to resolve a problem created by the mountainous problem. Look, over 60 billion.
And I'm saying that trying to solve it. Actually solve the problem is the question.
You must start a point. To know the road ahead, ask those coming. That's what the Chinese say. To know the road ahead. Because we know, we want to see the problem currently facing us is about these issues that we are having, that the debt that is being bedeviled at the energy sector. He knows, he's a ranking at the energy sector. He knows the debt, huge debt. We must service the debt first and look at the way out of it. And so government is bringing this innovative tax. It's an innovative tax. That is why they are very innovative. That is why they are running away. Look, it's not going to increase. So you're saying that, I want to make sure that our audience get the best out of this conversation. Yes. You're saying that this is a temporary situation. Exactly what he's saying, quick fix. So first you want to take care of the debts, and then you think about a more permanent solution. When we are able to solve your debt challenges,
resolve that one, then you are quick to go in terms of trying to now fix the long-term solutions that you are looking for. Because right now, these lights off that we are experiencing, they are needless because of what these people have created.
All right.
And that we are now trying to resolve that problem. Okay. In resolving that problem, we brought in an it's an innovative tax. They don't understand it. That is why they have a problem.
Money on
very innovative.
Somebody. What's the innovation?
In as much as many people will disagree with you, you brought it, so that's a point you can
it's a very innovative tax.
Mr. Boaji, so he's saying that they want to first take care of the debts, and then they can think of a more sustainable or permanent solution.
That 5.7 billion they are expecting in a year cannot take care of the debt. The structural issues, as you said, that first, because Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo started renegotiation with this power generated. That is the first solution. He talks about what did we do in the 8 years. Look at the renewables everywhere we are trying, especially solar, that we are trying to add to it. Madam, let me tell you, in the water region, I think there is a place Tiger Woods is destroying houses there, right?
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the place.
Yeah.
Thank you. Even we can resettle those people and use the Tiger Woods to generate power. It's one of the effective way of even getting enough megawatts from there. These are some of the innovative. That's what we are saying. We said it in our press conference.
He's saying, Mr. Boaji, he's saying that these are all options they are still exploring. But their focus right now is clearing the debt. And you say that the monies they're expecting will not clear the debt?
They increased 14.75 on ECG. Can that also do something? What are they doing about the distribution losses, the commercial losses I talk about? It's huge. Yeah. It's huge. Okay, what are they doing about that? That's another way of solving the problem. Okay, the inefficiencies at ECG, what are they doing about that? We started something. We brought in smart meters to solve some of the inefficiency. The smart meters, when somebody tampers with it, wherever you are, if you are the control room, you will know that something is happening here. There is a blockchain they can use. There is a smart grid. These are the things you do so that we get away from this huge debt. Fine, they are putting one city. We'll do anything. We know definitely they will implement it. But I'm telling you, this is what I'm saying. I said, mark this day and put it down, my sister. They will come back again. I know.
Something you said very interesting. You just said that you know whatever you do, they will implement it. Does that sound like you've given up on the campaign?
We haven't, because
if you know, you just said that they will do it regardless of what you do.
They said they have the numbers. So if they have the numbers, well, in Parliament also anything we vote on it. So once they have their numbers, they will go ahead and do it. But we will let Ghanaians understand what is at stake. That is not the levy that will solve the energy problem. There are structural issues that we need to tackle it. We have to see government tackling it. Assuming the government is tackling all these structural issues, and then he come out and said, look, where we have gotten to, we need this amount, okay? But we are starting at the stages. We will not just put maybe one city. Maybe we'll start from 20 pesos or 30 pesos. We'll start from there. And then these structural issues, we are tackling it. Do you think we will not understand with them? Since we just came out of the place, we know the problem there. This is what we are talking about.
Okay. Thank you. Hold for me. I'll come back.
And you were saying we did not profess any alternatives. You should check our press conference. There are alternatives. We said it. All these things are there.
Okay. Thank you. Hold for me. I'll come back to you. So, Dr. Computer, first of all, I know you are excited about what he said, that you pass it regardless, but that's not the point. Let's not belabor the point. The point is that we are looking for sustainability. We are looking for structural reforms. We are looking for renewable. In fact, this is the first time we are hearing of a Ministry of Energy and green transition.
Beautiful.
What's happening on that point?
Beautiful. That is why I'm saying that, because, you see, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he has the benefit of the hindsight. I always say it. He's been a president before. He did it for 4 years and saw certain things. Now he's back to the presidency. That is why things are getting better for Ghanaians, day in, day out, because the man has the benefit of hindsight. That's why he introduced this green thing to the energy sector. And to make sure, because we have already planned it ahead, knew what we are going to do. But I'm saying that, you see, what my colleagues don't understand is this. You have created huge mountainous debt on the energy sector.
And you expect that... He is saying that you've increased electricity tariffs.
And I'm saying, but
that one... There are so many avenues. Remy, I'll come to you in a second. So you have all these avenues to make money to shore up your revenue, and you are taxing Ghanaians one cedi on 1 liter of
that's
fuel.
wrong. That's wrong. He's saying that that is completely out of order. We are saying that Ghanaians are very comfortable with the 1 cedi.
Are we?
Nobody. Oh, yes, they are very comfortable.
He's a Ghanaian. I'm a Ghanaian.
We are not comfortable.
See, the MPP will not be comfortable because you think they are happy to get 38% in election.
But you
are not happy with it.
You are not buying fuel.
Hold on. Remy, so
you are not buying fuel.
I want to get quick thoughts, and I'll go back to Mr. Abuaji and wrap up. So let me start with you, Remy.
I want us to, I mean, adduce a political twist to this. Yes, this is a national issue.
Yeah.
That transcends successive governments, and we really need to. Energy, as someone has said, is a security issue, national security issue. You understand? So it's important that we really discuss this devoid of political sentiment. The minority is also flagging the power purchase agreements as one of the causes of this.
Yes.
I'm sure you also...
of course.
That was just by the way. Just to say that they also are pointing at, and you are accusing them of something. But at the end of the day, like the Honorable MP is saying, there are structural issues that need to be addressed. And I think that's why, as a nation, we should look at holistically. The transmission losses that are going on, yes, if the issues of the power purchase agreements that Kojo Nkrumah was suggesting yesterday, let's look at it from now. Let's not put a blame game on any particular government, because, look, other than that, in the next MPP government, we will have the same issue, and then they're also going to blame the NDC that they were the cause of this.
All right.
But I think you should focus on, you are in power now. Ghanaians gave you an overwhelming mandate to lead the country and take over from the MPP. And so whatever the challenges are, we agree there are challenges. My position is, my fair advice to you is, look, accept that this is a reality. Yes, you were handed the situation you have inherited, but this and this and this is what we're going to do. And then take this feedback from all Ghanaians, okay? Not many of us are happy with this levy, but what the government should do is probably to give us clear timelines, give us clear assurances that if we are paying this money, like I said, by this timeline, we're going to solve the issue. If you can guarantee this to Ghana, trust me, no one is going to complain.
All right.
Even Dr. Maku will pay happily.
So then here's the thing. I need to let Mr. Abuaji go. So let me wrap up with him, and then I'll come back to you. So, Mr. Abuaji, I mean, this is what is happening. We have heard you say that they're going to pass this regardless. So what mechanisms are in place from your side as minority, because your job is to hold government fees to account, to ensure that there's some sort of auditing process to keep them on their toes in terms of timelines, maybe not even increase the 1 cedi levy? What mechanisms are in place? Should this levy be, de-levy be passed regardless?
Before I come there, let me clarify some issue he said. He said we left huge debt. It's not true. When they were leaving power, they left $2.5 billion at the energy sector and then within the 8 years, we have been paying excess capacity charges of about $500 million every year. That's what they left, based on the power purchase agreement they signed. Okay, that we don't need in this country. Okay, you are going to sign a contract. You sign a contract. Let's say you need about 3,000 megawatts.
Mr. Abuaji, I want us to put aside the blame game of how we got here and look at the solution going forward.
No, my sister, not blame game. He is saying we left the debt of this, and I want him to know that we left 2.5 billion.
Okay, point made.
When we came to power and we left, as I'm speaking to you, there is a debt of 3.1 billion. When they came to power, they've added $200 million to it. So what debt have we left? Upon all the capacity charges that we are not using, okay, excess capacity we are not using, that we've paid. Look at what we left. Okay, let's put that aside. We, as a minority, will put the government on his tools. That is our work. And we'll let the Ghanaians to know that this and this are the right. That's why yesterday we prefer alternatives. We'll let Ghanaians know that, no, this is the way to go. This is not the way to go. For Ghanaians also to buy into it, so that the government will understand what we are saying, not that because they had overwhelming majority from Ghanaians, they can do whatever they like. No, that is not the way to go. They should listen, whether even we are two in parliament or one person in parliament, they should listen to us. That is Ghanaians who are giving us mandate, as they too, Ghanaians are giving them mandate to work together for the better of Ghana. This is what we are expecting from them, not to bully us with their numbers.
Thank you. So please just, thank you so much, Mr. George Kwame Abuaje, for spending some time with us. He's Member of Parliament for Asin Manso Akraso and the ranking member on the Energy Committee in Parliament. Dr. Computer, so what mechanisms are in place to track how the 1 cedi will be used? Will there be independent auditing, public disclosure of the funds? How do you ensure that we know where the money is going so that we can better appreciate when we are paying the money?
Oh, very well. I mean, the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he made it clear, I mean, in the Flagstaff House, when he met the leadership of organized labor and then some professional bodies, about the usage of this 1 cedi. It's going to be public notice. I mean,
public disclosure.
Disclosures will be there about how it is used and all that. And we are saying that we have the good people at heart in Ghana. As a government, we are social democrats. We just celebrated our 33 years yesterday. Today. I mean, 10th. I mean, today is 10th. We are 33 years. We birthed the democracy of this country. We knew of it, that this is what we needed to do for the good people of Ghana. And that's why we brought the democracy. These people were against it, MPP, completely against the democracy.
How?
Then they, of course,
when you were lashing our grandmothers in KJT, don't even go there.
This thing we are talking about.
Let's not digress. We have 2 minutes to wrap up, please. We have 2 minutes to go. Yeah.
Sweetie, I wanted you to ask the Honorable Member of Parliament, Ameri. They are talking of this. Ameri, when we brought Ameri to resolve the Dumso matter, 2016 and all that. When they came, do you know what they did?
They moved it to Kumasi.
They moved it to Kumasi. Not even Kumasi. They even increased it. That caused energy ministers increase the thing. Executive instrument trying to increase the price of the negotiation. These people, they should stop talking when they come to the energy sector.
Recall how I told him that we should move past the blame game.
That's why we are saying that.
Something very important, that Ghanaians gave you an overwhelming mandate, but so did we gave them to that mandate. They're in parliament because Ghanaians voted for them. So whatever they're saying, you should listen to them. The concerns that are coming out so far about lack of consultation, policies, programs, and projects that are being implemented without proper policy document presented to Parliament for its oversight responsibility. These are issues that are coming up from the minority. And I think that you should take that
Were they not in Parliament when the Honorable Minister of Finance brought the bill to Parliament? Were they not there? They were sitting there. Is that no consultation? Didn't they talk about it?
Is that as far as it goes?
It should happen before.
Look, consultation.
Is that as far as it goes?
Look, there are bills which can be passed within the day. You know that in Parliament under certificate of agency. Is it not lawful?
So this is urgent.
Is it not
but the nurses and midwives who are saying
that is not a bill. That one is a negotiation matter.
Let me give the remaining time to Dr. Mwako.
So they were consulted, just that they were doing their own propaganda.
All right, thank you. Dr. Mwako, you have the final 1 minute.
It's a matter of consultation, and it's because of the way they handle themselves. I think all the discussions this morning have gone along the tangent to just expose that the NDC, even after spending 8 years in power, they did not focus on coming up with plans to solve
8 years in opposition.
8 years in opposition. They did not take the time to come up with cogent, coherent plans to solve the problems that Ghanaians are facing. It's about settings, packaging, and the rest is gaslighting us, as he's trying to do here. Because as a CEO of a government agency, I'm pretty sure you have access to fuel coupons. So when we are crying about it, allow us to cry. Number 2, he talked about consultation. I don't know if you've seen the letter from the Chamber of...
COPEC?
Yes, you've seen the letter. They said they were given 48 hours notice, and they were even told that it was going to be phased, but that's not what happened. So by what stretch of the imagination can you say you consulted? I also do not want to go on the tangent of blaming, but that's how they always start. You know, to be able to whitewash their incompetence, they always try to go back to what was left. But you know the mess you left. Even the director of World Bank, Mr. Laporte, I can't remember the first name, came out to call your take-or-pay arrangements expensive and criminal. No, I'm telling you. So you left us you left us problems. We managed the situation. And then let me just quickly.
People had all the
power. You know, when I say that, after everything that happened and everything we learned, we were trying to move forward in the path of renewable.
Get into it quickly. Let's go.
So I'll wrap up with a very important notice here I'm seeing from the News Guide Africa that GRE urges citizens to take advantage of tax incentives to lessen tax. It's a good thing. I would just urge them. I mean, if I hadn't opened this, I wouldn't have seen that they should find a means to let this news trickle down It's talking about personal tax relief, marriage responsibility relief, child education relief. The very first.
So this government is very social.
Thank you so much for joining us for the news segment this morning.
We are giving them.
Before I go, there's a dedication here. Happy birthday to Mrs. Clarice Dodi Aduama. May the desires of your heart be fulfilled on such a special occasion as this. May God bless you and keep you. And may you win throughout this new year. From your husband, Mr. Kwame Dodi Aduama, and the entire family, happy birthday, Mrs. Clarice. And there's another one here. Happy 7th birthday to Samuel Kwesi Ano of Crown and Glory School at Bawe. May your day be as bright and colorful as your smile. May your life be filled with laughter and joy. You are a blessing to our family and a shining light in our lives. From your mom, Mama Connie, your siblings, and your loved ones, they say happy 7th birthday to you, Samuel. Those who joined us for the news review this morning, Dr. Ikea Mwako, she's a member of the NPP Communications Directorate. Remy Edmondson is National Secretary of the Progressive People's Party. Dr. Tanko Rashid Computer is CEO of GIFIC, and we also spoke to the ranking member on Energy Committee in Parliament, Mr. Boaji. That wraps up the news review segments this morning. Please stay. We are coming back with more on our big stories. Happy birthday to
NDC.
Oh, happy birthday to NDC. Today is your anniversary. Oh, congratulations. The ruling government is celebrating 33 years today. Happy birthday.
Oh,
okay. We'll be right back for the big stories segment. Please stay.
You're still live on the AM show. It's sponsored by Waylead Properties. We provide quality housing at an affordable cost and with a flexible payment option. Now imagine being born to parents with hearing impairments and having to be that bridge between the hearing and the silent worlds. That's the story of 10-year-old Regina Osei, who helps her parents communicate with others on a daily basis. She does not just speak for them, she helps them understand and be understood. In our first episode of Disabled, this series, my colleague Collins Frimpong shares the story of a little girl making a big difference.
It's Sunday morning here in Accra. The Osei family is preparing for church. But this is no ordinary family. 10-year-old Regina Osei is their bridge, a bridge between two worlds. Regina's parents are both deaf. When she was born, Regina only knew their silent world, sign language, the only language spoken in their home.
My grandmother was the one who trained me how to speak. When I was 1 year, I didn't know that my mother and my father were deaf. And later on, was when maybe about 2 years, and because I don't see them speaking, they were only doing the sign language because I saw them doing that. So I didn't speak again.
For 2 years, Regina lived in a world without spoken words, learning to understand and speak only through her parents' signs. But as she grew, Regina's world expanded.
She wants me to become an interpreter for the whole nation.
It was only when Regina making sounds with her grandparents that her parents realized she could hear and speak. Relief and hope filled their hearts. Hope that their daughter would be their voice to the world.
They were thinking that I'll become deaf because almost the whole family is deaf. And some of them are hearing, but the deaf people are many. So, and then my mother gave birth to me. My father's family asked my father and my mother that can I speak. Because of that, my mother became worried. And so she took me to the hospital. And then the doctor said, I'm not deaf, I can speak. Then she started feeling good that I can talk.
Regina has embraced this role with pride. When communication becomes difficult, at the hospital or in public, Regina steps in, interpreting for her parents and others in the deaf community.
That evidence abounds that there is a strong relationship between good learning environment and good learning outcomes.
They always shows me alphabet, pictures, and phonics. So because of that, I was able to translate. I feel excited to be able to translate, because if I wasn't able to translate, by now I'm not like this. And so because of that, I told my mother that if I grow up, I'll become an interpreter.
But Regina's path hasn't always been easy. At school, she faces isolation and misunderstanding.
I feel happy sometimes, and sometimes I feel sad, because people always say that my parents are poor and I don't have phone. Because I don't have phone and tablet, so my parents are poor. And when it's our day, they always bring, almost the whole class bring their phone and tablet, so that I'll be saying they should dash it to me, but I don't always say that. But when I get closer to them, they'll be saying that my parents are dead, they don't have money, so I should leave them.
Despite the challenges, Regina's heart is full of hope.
I wish my parents to buy me something like tablets and phone, so that, and also make me to finish school and let me to continue school, so that I'll be the better person in the future. I want to become a president, because if I become a president, I'll be rich and I can help the disability people.
Together, they dream of a better future for their children.
My dad is the only one who bears everything, and there's nobody to support him. He's the only one who pays my school fees, my brother's school fees, and gives my mother money to go to the market and do so many things. My mother learned how to sew dress.
Her parents working tirelessly. Her father, the main provider. Her mother learning to sew despite struggles. Together, they dream of a better future for their children. In a world where communication is a right, not a privilege, Regina Osei stands tall. She is more than a daughter. She is a lifeline, a beacon bridging silence and sound. For Regina, the language of love speaks loudest through hands, heart, and hope. Collins Frimpong, Joy News.
Three health facilities in the Greater Accra region, including the Adabraka Polyclinic and also the Greater Accra Regional Hospital known as RIDGE. Here is the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where we are trying to assess the impacts of the strike by the Ghana Registered Nurses and the Midwives Association. And one thing is synonymous with these three health facilities. That is, patients are stranded within these facilities. Nurses, there are no nurses around to attend to them. At the Adabraka Polyclinic, we engaged the medical superintendent at the facility, that's Dr. Abdul Razak Kwao, and he gave us details of what is really happening within the facility. He told us that the facility is currently short with nurses, because on average they need about 40 nurses to operate on a particular shift. But currently they are relying on just about 5 nurses who are not part of the strike that is ongoing. And also they have made calls that they are looking at 3 nursing assistants to also come in to support them. At the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, also compared to last week where patients were not getting any access to healthcare, this morning the situation was quite different. Management of the facility have been able to put measures in place where doctors are now playing dual roles now. Whilst they are looking at playing their own or doing their own work, they are also looking at playing the functions or doing the functions of the nurses and the midwives. We engaged some of the patients there, and they also told us the issues that they are facing, and they pleaded with government to ensure that all that the nurses required are also provided.
Me de me brother na ba e be do at 5:30. Be see saa time yen hwe. No mo say nurses for strike. Inti doctors for ne ba be hwe so mo ward nso still mo ma nipa bebrin ba kra ba yo mo ko. Inti esra ban se ne nurses for hia no nya mo na ye ba o matimi ahwe ese nipa nkwa ho hia.
Na de wo ha na mo de ba e.
Me nua ne ye call cardio na ye me ekotwa na koma. Inti oni ne de ba e.
Ene na ese nka mo ba na nka.
Ese se be hu doctor no. And they buy and so up to now, that's what you
and that's a baby. Right. So that's the situation here, a sad moment. So she came here with her brother who had issues, a surgery around the heart. That today they are supposed to see the doctor to review the situation, but they are not getting anybody to assist them.
I pay member last month, and I almost share me say member on the 9th. I didn't see them buy.
Nah, they are putting out the buy.
Makumaso, I see Yarebe, Makumaso. Until me buy. Until me be who Akuma doctor. Until me buy, and I must say, one young buy, and tea and train. Until you go see train.
How many minutes? I'm ready to say now. What?
I know, and yen dream maybe as a see an room. See an room. See who next for no say. Yantrasna, Doctor no nyamba or baba. And anything I buy.
Say be a 1 year nurses and I said doctors are more man show or baby I will call.
Baby I make call, you say me coffee. You say me coffee. But the last month, and me yare me fu mum na me ya. Nti my baby bia we say on be me surgery. And doctor say yare be dem akoma so. You say omukio yare na say no my surgery no. And no na kana me ba up and down since last month. Me ba up and down. Sunday we and I'm friend say member on the knife. And I have a dry yet to one. I'm say Doctor Nyambayan.
And I me ba review. I'm by so nurse for strike. Until now, this made my home make a grammar sorry coffee.
Or how bad potty now what buy review no there and cow baby.
Me operation me con. Operation tika sabe me review ma me ba review last week almost was strike, this week is almost strike. Say me nim da omo beba eno na me pese me hwe nya me de but say me ba review na doctor who say me okay bamba ya just me san kofi
your name penny for doctors, I mean hospital managers na chochon kuma won say o mama doctors for no astepi in ejuma esenka nurses for na na omo enye no doctors for na ba be monya ni ntie bisa obi aka be bisa
be da be abrante o yi card o se me kofi
o yi card ni se kofi
o se o mu ni ho na doctors ni ho nurses ni ho ntie o mu ntumi nya ejuma so nurses ni na ebo surgeons no na nurses ni ho so aji me kofi.
At the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, the situation wasn't different from this what we witnessed from the other facilities. But here, there was a scene at the emergency ward based on the information that we've picked on the ground, where nurses, the senior nurses somehow clashed with the junior nurses because the senior nurses were trying to provide treatment, healthcare, to patients that were already on admission. But the junior nurses won't allow that to happen. But the authorities also came in to ensure that the issue was resolved. And the information that we had is that at this particular moment, the facility is not admitting any patients again, but those that are already on admission, those that they've already been here for some time now, they are trying to provide treatment to them, healthcare for them, so that they can be discharged in the meantime. Also, when we got here, we also saw about 10 police officials over here. That the information, based on our interaction with them, what they told us was that they are here to assess the impact of the strike.
That is the situation on the ground. Believe it or not, one of the women you saw at that medical facility, I happen to know personally. What a coincidence, right? But that offer to defer the implementation of the nurses' conditions of service until next year has been rejected outright by the group, leading to some sort of labor impasse. The question, how do we resolve this deadlock that has left health facilities abandoned and also put patients in harm's way? Sweetie Abachi is right here with me, and we'll start with our guests.
Yes, so joining us via Zoom for this conversation, we have Senyo Ajabing. He is labor mediator and arbiter, ADR consultant. Sir, thank you for your time on the AM show. Let me start by asking, what systemic failures in Ghana's health financing do you think has brought us here? Because this is not the first time that we're dealing with a situation like that. So let's start the conversation from there. You have to unmute for us, Senyo.
Sorry about that. Yes.
Okay.
So, good morning. I wouldn't call it a systemic failure, but I think that in all relationships, including employment relationships, there would be these kinds of disagreements. And when these disagreements occur, there are laid down procedures that are used to resolve it. So to say it is a systemic failure may be too much of an issue, an overstatement of the issues. But I think that a lot of dialogue can and should be able to resolve this matter.
We spoke to Mr. Dr. Computer earlier this morning, and he said the challenge is that it is not this current administration that negotiated these terms of service. And so that's a bit of a challenge because they're trying to understand exactly how to implement these challenges. Do you think that's enough reason why we are seeing this delay in implementation?
Well, no. Governance is a continuum. And so once there is a standing agreement, collective agreement, contract of employment, and an MOU, any form of agreement that binds an employer to an employee, then it's continuous no matter who comes or goes. And I also believe that there were transitional processes that would have revealed some of these pending issues that were supposed to have been resolved. And one would have thought that these could have been resolved in the earlier budget, but unfortunately it wasn't. But having come here, there still needs to be some form of consultation to resolve this. And the proposal to implement next year may be a way to go, or the parties can decide that they will implement but backdate the implementation. But to ask workers and worker unions to accept the postponement of their rights, the implementation of something that is rightly due them, would not be something that anyone would want to agree to. And that is why I believe we've come here. Honestly, if you owe me something from last year and I'm coming for it and you say, no, let's wait, next year I'll pay you, but I'll pay you from next year and not backdate, then it's a problem. So I think that the proposals must be refined. There should be more consultations, and then I'm sure solutions can be found, yes.
You know, what comes to mind is banks and bad debt and how to handle those, especially with insurance and all of that. But this is pretty different in this context. Looking at, you mentioned the budget, looking at the approach this government has adopted so far in resolving the issue, one could have also said that they could have forecast that this would happen. It's kind of like single spine when it was rolled over. Has enough been done to forestall this?
Well, like I said, there were transitional processes, so I'm sure some discussions would have gone on, some consultations would have happened. But I believe that these have not been enough. I mean, in such labor relationships, a lot of consultation is needed. And we are not talking about just sitting around tables and meeting on occasion, but a roadmap daily, following deadlines, tracking, issues that are supposed to be dealt with to make sure that both parties are on the same page in terms of the roadmap to implementation. Unfortunately, that I don't think enough has been done in that aspect. And that is why, as a matter of urgency, that should happen. Again, we need to put on record, though, that health workers are not supposed to undertake strike actions. So for me and some of us, where process watchers, where we sit, we believe that the approach may not be the best. It is like tying a person's hand behind him and challenging the person to a fight. So I think that we need to look at more prudent and lawful ways of reaching these consultations and agreements rather than going the unlawful way. Otherwise, then a good case becomes a bad case. And that is the only problem that we have. But beyond the legality, it is always a relationship. And the two parties have to commit to sitting down and resolving it. Otherwise, then we have lives on our hands, and people should, bow down their heads in shame if their actions lead to the death and the loss of lives. Yeah.
People should bow their heads in shame. Interestingly, the group has said, the GRNMA, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, they have said that if lives are lost, we should blame government. We are not here to play the blame game, but if you look at it, you've already mentioned that it is, so to speak, illegal for health professionals to embark on an industrial action. I do know that there was an injunction placed on them for about 10 days, so some interactions could happen, but they did not adhere to it. That's the legal angle. But if you look at it from the other end, this has happened time and again where professionals are given the short end of the stick and they have to get to this point. How do we find middle ground right before Sweetie comes in?
So this is why I like the new labor bill that is under consideration to be passed into an amended labor law. It prescribes stiffer punishment and penalties for breaches of the labor law. See, this is a case where both parties have offended the law. So
where both parties are what, government and the GRNMA?
Exactly, the employer and the employee. So you have the Ghana Health Service on the one side as employer, and then the union and its members on the other. Now, they have both offended the law. There is an agreement that is to be implemented that has not been done. That is a breach of the collective agreement. And then in trying to get the employer to pay, we have a union whose executives have taken the decision to breach the law and go on strike when the law says they are essential services and they cannot be on strike. While this is happening, an injunction has been placed. Well, we are not sure if they've been served or not, but that is on record to say that an injunction has been received or has been issued, and then they have to comply with these, but they are not, and they are still on strike. Some people, and it boils down to leadership in this case, and sometimes it's a bit frustrating where leaders do not act, and then, the ordinary person bears the brunt. We cannot start placing blame, but from where we sit as neutrals and process watchers, we believe that both parties are abusing the processes of the relationship, and these are affecting not only individuals in the streets, but also the economy in general, because healthcare is an activity that affects the economy, that affects productivity. And once we have a country to run, we need to make sure that we look for ways of preventing some of these things from happening. And I sound frustrated because I can imagine if I had an emergency right now, that a health emergency, what we'll have to go through. It's frightening for everybody. It may be someone today, but it may be you or me tomorrow. And so this has to be resolved, and we all need to insist that it is resolved. I believe the National Labour Commission is also in the picture, and some interventions should be made. There has to be a way of resolving this as soon as possible.
While we are looking at resolving this issue as soon as possible, there's another issue that our colleague, Collins Frimpong, brought to my attention. He said there's been some sort of clash between junior nurses and senior nurses in terms of whether or not to give care to patients. How does this affect their stance? Because you said that both parties, employer and employee, have already breached the labor laws, I mean, the ones that affect how they go about this. How does this affect their stance? If junior nurses are saying that let's not give care to patients, and senior nurses are saying, ideally, we're not even supposed to take industrial action in the first place. Let me know how this affects their stance.
So clearly, you see that there are some professional nurses of good conscience who believe that their leaders are not doing the right thing, and their ranks may be breaking up. And that is where the problem is, where there's weak leadership, because if a leader needs to get the right solutions to the problems that are faced, they do not go using the wrong tools or the wrong mechanisms that creates more problems for everybody. And that is where I have a problem with the union. A very good case that is being handled and resolved using wrong tools may not bring the necessary solution that is needed. The solution that is needed here is dialogue. The labor law requires that the parties sit, and even if possible, because they are essential workers, within 3 days of this dispute, an arbitration, a compulsory arbitration should have been called by the National Labour Commission to resolve this matter, directives given, timelines given, and then implementation done. So I think that the posture of the union and its leadership is not helping the fast resolution of the matter. And if I were a health worker, I would think twice before also going on this strike action, especially if it offends the law. But hey, here's where we are now. We will need to still find a way of looking at the relationship, because it's going to be an ongoing relationship, and there are more issues to deal with on the table, and not only the collective agreement. There is also upcoming negotiations for wage openness and all that the relationship will have to undertake. So they have no choice than to sit around the table and continue looking at the options before them, and in the national interest, get a solution as soon as possible. But indeed, the monies that are owed have to be paid. And having owed, the employer needs to convince, the other party of a roadmap that assures them that the monies will be paid, and it will be paid to their work. Yeah.
Talking about a roadmap and fast resolution of this matter, the Labour Minister said he is shocked that the registered nurses and midwives have embarked on this industrial action. Does it come as a surprise to you? Because he's saying that there are various avenues for confrontation, and as far as he's concerned, they didn't exploit all these avenues before going on strike. Does it come as a surprise to you? Because this also falls under the Labour Minister's purview.
No, well, it doesn't come as a surprise per se, but we should all know that when workers are back to a wall, they would use the most potent means of getting their issues heard. And to have been frustrated to the point where they decide to go all out using this strike action, though as illegal as it is, then it should tell you that the relationship has really broken down to the point where both parties need to become more committed to it. Now, if you take, for example, the proposal that was rejected yesterday to say that I owe you from last year, May, but I don't have money to pay, so let's forget about everything and I'll pay you next year. I mean, nobody would accept this. This is something that is due me. This is my right. So there's no way a worker would forego such a right. So the proposals need to be refined, and those proposals have to be looked at in ways that assures and secures the trust of the other party, that's the workers, for them to be able to go along. So now we would need a more refined proposal from the employer, because as for the money, I believe it will have to be paid. One last thing I need to say, however, is that you cannot be in an illegality and be seeking a lawful solution. So once the workers are going after their rights, they need to be in the right. And so they need to call off the strike action and then go before the legitimate institutions like the National Labour Commission or even the courts to seek redress to the wrongs that have been done them. But I don't think that being on strike and demanding their rights is right. It cannot be that you would be on strike, which is illegal, and seek to come to the table and talk about something that is lawfully due you. You know, so here are all the intricacies in the matter, but I believe that, hey, we can resolve this, and we need to do that very fast.
From my end, while these two elephants fight, the health service professionals and the Ghana Health Service, people are suffering. Some people may lose their lives in the midst of all of this. Since last week, we've been looking at instances where people travel from far away places, come to medical facilities because they have appointments, only to find out that no services are available. Someone I know personally went to Kolibu a few days ago and they could not get any assistance from there. They were turned away and they had to go to a private medical facility. So nothing that any one of us would want. But like you also say, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. At this point, it would appear that the association is not coming to the table with clean hands. Can there be, and let me use another banking analogy, can there be a partial redemption? Because in banking, we also know that if there's a bad loan sometimes, or some loan that is not so viable, instead of a total loss in contract, you may look for a partial loss. Is there a way of finding middle ground between the two of them, rather than 2026 and all of that, and instead of also claiming definitely that we must start from May? Is there middle ground that can be negotiated?
Yes, of course. I mean, look, the options are many, but when you seek to resolve such an issue, you do not close down your options. You explore as many options as possible in the best interest of both parties. So yes, I believe that they can decide to meet each other halfway. They can decide to have a payment plan, and so on and so forth. But I don't think that it will be fair to ask employees to do away with monies that are due them and haven't been paid. If that will resolve the issue, yes. And if they can accept it, yes. But I don't think it will be fair to say that we have negotiated, we have agreed, we have in your collective agreement and contracts these benefits that are due you, but we are not able to pay. And so you should forget about it. I don't think that would be fair. But I am not at the table and you are not at the table. when these parties have disagreements, they have to find their own solution within their own context. It's just like a marriage. They need to talk more among each other and think about what works and then be able to resolve the dispute. So the options should be many, and the best, which is most suitable to both parties, should be reached. Not necessarily middle ground. There can be some compromises, but whatever is done should also be fair, because if it's not fair to one party, the dispute would rear its head in the future again, and the resolution would not be permanent. It will not be sustainable. So we need sustainable solutions through proper consultations to make sure that in the interest of both parties, the issues are dealt with, and then parties at least leave the table quite satisfied with whatever they got.
Let me just sneak this by you. What does this say about the proactiveness of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, the National Labour Commission, and maybe the general labor setup? I do understand it's early days still in this administration's first year, but what does it say about that? There was a point where you made mention of the fact that these things ought to be tracked. What do you make of it?
Well, we have institutions that in many ways are weak, and we need to, as governance people and as a country, start believing in strengthening our institutions so that they are able to do their work. I cannot understand why these interventions have not come more quickly, but I am most aware that most of these organizations and institutions are really constrained, and their structures make it difficult to be able to be that proactive and that efficient. So hopefully the reset agenda should also affect the labor arena, and labor stakeholders should put their heads together to make sure that we fashion out proper ways of dealing with these things and preventing them before they occur, because the resolution itself is more expensive than if we have to prevent them.
Have Mr. Philemon Japong here in the studio with us. He is Assistant National PRO for Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. So let's engage him and we'll circle back to you. Mr. Japong, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Feel free to give us your initial reflections on how far things are going right now. But there's a point that I want to put to you immediately. We are hearing from Mr. Japong that, in fact, what you're doing is an illegality. As nurses and midwives, you shouldn't even be embarking on industrial action of this sort in the first place. And so if you're involved in such an illegality, how do you expect the government or whoever you're asking to respond to your needs to use lawful means to address your grievances?
Thank you, and thank you for this opportunity to address the good people of Ghana. If Mr. Japong will quote the labor provisions that speaks on these illegalities with respect to strike, I would want him to also avert his mind that nurses and midwives are essential service staff. And it is enshrined in the same Labour Act, in Section 162(1) of the Labour Act, that within 72 hours, when there is an impasse, the government or the employer must take steps to resolve these challenges or impasse so that it does not escalate into these actions we are seeing. Did they do the needful? If they are coming with equity, they must come with clean hands. Have they been able to hear out why nurses and midwives have taken this journey? And if they have, what steps have they taken to call the employer to order that conditions of service that has been negotiated and signed needs no further delay in implementation? So let's call a spade a spade. When something is not right, it's not right from the beginning. Let's not point the law when we are not abiding by the law.
Benjamin.
Mr. Japong made mention of the fact that both of you are wrong, not that only you are wrong. Do you admit that like you said, there are clauses that point to what ought to be done within some 72 hours. Do you admit that because of how crucial your service is, you should not embark on a strike? It's there before you, is it?
That is the more reason why we have not been embarked.
No, I want the admission first. I want the admission first. Do you admit that?
You need to give the opportunity for fair hearing.
I will allow you to expatiate on it. I am saying, what does the law say on that? Are you allowed to partake in industrial?
The law says essential service staff are not supposed to embark on strike action.
Okay, so, but this is unique, right?
But there are conditions that are prelude to that. There are conditions that will cause an essential service staff to embark on strike. We are in Ghana. Several essential service staff have embarked on strike. Doctors have been on strike. Health service workers, even mortuary people have been on strike. So
the coloration of even though.
Even to say that they are taking care of dead bodies, not to say they are not important.
Right. I see. In this instance, we've been speaking to Mr. Ajaben, and he's been pretty fair. He's a mediator as well, so he's looked at both sides. The 72-hour window, are you saying it was not met? There was no interaction within the 72-hour window?
Not at all. We stated this roadmap on the 28th of May, and the next communication we had from Labour Commission, National Labour Commission, was on the 4th of June. That's way beyond the 72-hour window.
Which is basically 3 days.
No,
72 hours. 72 hours is 3 days, but Labour Commission got back to us after 7 or 8 days.
Exactly. So it was way past the 3 days.
Way past the days.
That notwithstanding, looking at the whole context of these terms, these conditions that were set up from sometime May last year, right?
Sure.
Until now. Between May and now, what was the roadmap really? I'm curious because it also feeds into what then implementation was going to be like.
All right, so let me just use this platform to bring clarity. Negotiation of conditions of service is not an instant situation. It takes time. So Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, which represent government, will send a message to us that your conditions of service negotiation is due. So bring a team together. We will also put together a team for government to sit with you and agree on terms. We started this process in January 2024. The communication started in 2023. And in 2024, January, we constituted a team, GRNMA on one side, and then the Fair Wages and Salary Commission, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Health, and other stakeholders, like reps from the teaching hospitals on the other side. And these two teams met for months. And in each meeting, we table each item that wants consideration, that we want consideration. And they will decide whether they have the mandate or they have the capacity to take it on board as an allowance or not. And it will interest you to know that about 2/3 of what we submitted were shut down.
Were shut down?
Shut down with a explanation that there's Russia-Ukraine war, there's COVID, there is IMF.
I mean, as of 2023, 2024, they were still talking about Russia, Ukraine, and COVID.
Exactly. And because of that, they couldn't take on board new allowances. And that's what we are even asking for. Let's say we asked for a uniform allowance we were already enjoying, which they were paying just 400 cedis. We asked for 2,500 cedis to be able to sew 3 sets of uniform a year because they pay it once a year. And the employer team were not ready to take on board that package. They were able to negotiate it down to 1,000 Ghana cedi.
From 400 to 1,000 cedis. So you wanted 2,005. They said no, from 400 to 2,005 is too high. Exactly. They brought it to 1,000. Sweetie, just indulge me here briefly.
Yeah. So that is just a component.
Right. So essentially what you're saying is that they only accepted, out of even your request, about 30% were accepted. That's about 1/3,
exactly.
Right?
That's about 1/3.
And out of this 1/3, I just want clarity before Sweetie comes back in. What was the roadmap from? Because as for the process of getting it there, but once you got there, Yes. And pen was put to paper. Yes. What was the roadmap in terms of implementation? Like, all right. When were you supposed to start seeing any?
When conditions of service are signed, the fair wages communicate to the employer, which is Ministry of Health, and then Ministry of Finance. Right. And Finance will put a covering letter on the agreed conditions of service and send it to Controller and Accountants General to pay the monetary aspect. There are monetary aspects of the conditions, and others are service conditions. These are conditional aspects, and those ones are not under the discussion here. The monetary aspect is what we are looking at. And these are allowances that needed implementation in 2024, July. So after May, when we signed, by July, the COS needed to be implemented from July.
See, I keep mentioning the Labor Ministry because I know they are the mediator-in-chief. And that is also under Labor Act 2003, Act 651, right?
Sure.
And apart from being the mediator-in-chief, they are also part in validating the legality and enforceability of any conditions of service. In this case, your signed terms of service that you already agreed on. At what point did you intend to bring in the ministry or the Minister of Labor into this? Because you've said that after 72 hours, they didn't respond. You must have thought to escalate this matter because you had a mediator-in-chief who is empowered to even refer this issue to the Labor Commission before the industrial action.
That's correct. We had a number of meetings with the Minister of Health.
Yes.
And he kept assuring us that the conditions of service will be implemented. So we were not in a position to take the issue to Labor Commission when there is assurance that implementation is going to take place.
Please just clarify for me, when was the last such interaction with Kwabena Mintakando, the Minister of Health, before the strike?
Before the strike, it was 28th of April.
28th of April?
This year, 28th of April.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yes. So the assurances kept us in limbo, whether to continue or pursue an action or to continue to trust what they are saying. And know that as executives or as leaders, we have thousands of people who are looking up to us and waiting to hear what we will say before they take an action. So we needed to go back to discuss with them that, well, the employer says we should give them time, and we have given them time up to this May or this April. So what do we do? And the council took a decision that up until when? We have had 5 meetings already, and we have given them 5 months already. So they had no more time to wait. And they called on us as leaders to declare. In fact, some of our specialized society even threatened strike before as leaders we had to.
But you see, Philemon, that is the point that I'm making. That there was a point that you could have gone to the mediator-in-chief and said that
we petitioned them. We petitioned them.
We've been told, these promises were made to us, and we are in limbo, like you said. So come in and help us.
We communicated to Labor Commission.
No. I'm talking about ministry or the minute, because he said he's surprised, he's shocked by this action. That's why I'm bringing this back in.
He should not be shocked.
It means that there was no point where he was brought into the conversation.
In fact, if you listen to the way he sounds almost as though he had been blindsided.
Yeah, this was just sprung on him.
With this.
I'm concerned because that is the mediator-in-chief.
To the Labor Commission.
No. I'm not talking about Labor Commission. I'm talking about the Ministry of Labor.
Oh, the Ministry of Labor. Sorry, I was speaking the Labor Commission. Well, the minister needs to know that we are working in different facets. He, as a Labor Minister, must oversee the issues that happen in Labor Commission, in the Ministry of Health, and the Ministry of Finance. Were we supposed to go to each ministry to plead with them to implement our conditions of service after it has been signed?
Oh, but Philemon,
when they know that is the right thing to do.
Him.
Well,
would you agree that that was something
that may be an oversight.
Yeah, an oversight. Because he says he's shocked, and he is the right person you should have gone to escalate this.
We expected National Labour Commission to have engage.
But it's the other way around. You go to the minister and then he refers the issue to the Labour Commission. It's not the other way around.
There are structures of communication. Yeah. We could have gone to the minister, but not when our sector ministry has assured us that they are doing whatever is needed to get the conditions of service implemented.
Before Ben comes in, we are here, unless you want to stay on this matter, I want to bring up the issue of the clashes between the senior nurses and the junior nurses. I know it's not a good look, but do you see the wisdom behind the senior nurses saying that let's not follow through with this industrial action, let's give care to our patients?
That is an inaccurate.
Oh, a reporter on ground, Collins Frimpong, went to one of the places right here in Accra, and he reported that some junior and senior nurses were in some sort of clash as to whether or not...
Which facility is that?
Please check for me which of the places Collins went to.
The senior nurses are equally beneficiaries of these conditions of service. And if you are a manager, by the law, they are not supposed to, publicly come to join the strike action, which we share in that management portfolio. But that does not mean they should put impediment on the way of junior nurses. And it's not about junior nurses or senior nurses. These conditions of service for nurses and midwives. So I don't get that route. We are all supposed to benefit from the same conditions of service, and implementation is what we are looking for. So junior nurses, senior nurses, whichever category of nurses are same in terms of these conditions of service.
But that means that not all nurses and midwives, I might add, are in agreement with this industrial action then?
Of course, you have a section of people not in agreement, but to best of knowledge and based on the research that we have done and our follow-up, about 99% of the nurses agree to this strike. And
so I've been told that he went to Kolebu, and that's where he reported on the clash in Adabraka. In fact, 3 facilities right here in Accra, and that's where he reported that there were some clashes between nurses as to whether or not to follow through with this industrial action.
We will find out from
Kolebu specifically.
Colleagues.
Yeah.
We will find out. But in Kolebu, you can check Kolebu. When we started the strike, there was total compliance. Probably a senior nurse is being coerced by management to put some impediments on the way of junior nurses, which is wrong.
Okay.
Yes, and that can be expected since the ministry is doing all they can to get this strike mitigated. And that is not the right thing to do. Let's implement the COS. Let's get the right people to do the right job.
Okay. I'll come back on how we unravel this impasse right now, but over to you again, Ben.
Are you concerned about some of these health professionals who are breaking ranks? You don't seem particularly happy. Are there any punitive measures if they break ranks? I mean, if they...
Breaking ranks as in?
Not complying with the industrial action. I mean, I say it from the standpoint of, clock sag and the rest. Sometimes they would say, we're on strike, and if you attempt, going to work sometimes. Yeah. I mean, you've been on the ground before, so you understand what I'm saying. In this instance, you don't seem happy about those who may be breaking ranks. Are you going to enforce any punitive measures against such?
Oh, not at all. We think that we declare strike in the interest of nurses and midwives in this country. And that interest is a shared interest. So we expect colleagues to follow suit and then fight for a collective interest. If an individual thinks otherwise, he has the right to remain at post. We are not coercing anybody to go on strike. And largely, almost all our constituents have followed suit. And they are complying with the strike directive.
If you had to give me a percentage, as far as you know, from where you sit, what would you say? I see someone sending me something here, but this person I can't guarantee, so I want to hear from your lips.
For GRNMA, it's a 100% strike.
100%.
And for the breakaway groups out of GRNMA, about 70-80% of their constituents have still joined the strike.
Let's talk about, you spoke about mitigating the situation, right? And just briefly, this would take time, wouldn't it? You spoke about the attempts, so to speak, by the health minister to mitigate the situation, and you say they are trying this and that. Maybe it's affecting your industrial action. But all of such engagements would take time, wouldn't it?
That engagement has not yielded much results. As a ministry, they are supposed to put in measures. But the right measures they are supposed to put in is to call on the stakeholders involved to get the implementation. Because for how long can you hold Kolebu or Ridge Hospital to ransom? And how many people can hold a fort for thousands of people who delivers healthcare, with special expertise? So I don't think these mitigating factors will last. And it's proven that the death toll or the disease burden is high. Lots of these private hospitals are getting filled up because of this industrial action, and we are not happy ourselves.
Actually, I can attest to that.
Like
There's a private hospital I use. It was fuller than normal when I went. Yeah.
Over the weekend, I had to go somewhere else because, like
how
I said,
many,
they have been referred
Ghanaians
from.
can afford, and how many more deaths or more casualties do we need to see before we address this?
Some people watching, I'm seeing a lot of messages, and some people are saying that is even more reason for you to temper, so to speak, justice with mercy.
My brother,
sense of what is happening, and some are also making the point that this was inherited. It's, if you look at the economic situation and what time, that's why I was bringing in the time factor, that maybe some concessions ought to be made along the line as government tries to resolve the problem.
All right. I think we have made concessions in the past. In 2016, we negotiated for conditions of service. It never got implemented. In fact, the Honorable Minister now was the Deputy Minister of Finance in the time. And our members were peeved. They called on us to declare a strike action. And we felt it was premature. Let's continue to engage. We engaged for 2 years. In 2018, we had similar issues. So in 2020, when we did a negotiation and we experienced those impediments, we declared a strike action. In 2020, it was even 3 months to election. And we don't really care whether it is Party A or Party B which is in power. But because of such, assertions that patients are at stake, people are dying, nurses must be humane. We have done that, and other caregivers have passed us in the healthcare continuum. They keep getting their conditions of service implemented, and their salaries keep increasing, whilst nurses keep staggering at a particular point, because when we negotiate as leaders, it doesn't get implemented. And when we declare strike, Labour Commission will go for injunction. Is that the right thing to do? And it's like they are tying our hands to our back and hitting our belly, which is not fair. And it has gone on for years. So nurses and midwives are now a bit sad. Let me use the right word. So when they get an opportunity, they will travel to US, go to UK, go to Australia, where their service will be given the necessary compensation it deserves. We cannot pay the commensurate rate in Ghana. If people are taking $15,000 and the likes, we cannot ask for same in Ghana. But it will interest you to know that some cadre of nurses take home like 2,300 Ghana cedi in this day and age. Some have worked for 10 years. They are taking 3,900 Ghana cedi in Accra here, paying rent, paying transport. And all these allowances are part of allowances that we tabled that government shuts down. They did not consider it. So it's hectic and it's painful to say that we are not humane.
So there are so many angles to this. You are getting the barest minimum of what you asked for.
Exactly.
And even that barest minimum, it's become difficult
to
give it to you.
Exactly.
On the other end, lives are being lost. On the other end, government will tell you that they've also inherited. So the question I believe Sweetie and I have on our minds now is, how do we break the deadlock? How do we break it?
Well, I think this is to Ghanaians. Let's call on the stakeholders to do the needful and respect nurses and midwives. Let's give them what they are due. We are not asking for much. If you look at these allowances that I was talking about, they are just small allowances just to keep nurses happy at post. The same service that we render here, we render it as elsewhere, and we are branded best practicing people, best practicing nurses. Ghanaians go for competition abroad and they win best. You remember
Naomi
yes.
won.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And look at, if I tell you Naomi's pay, you marvel. Specialist nurse, oncology nurse. And we have critical care nurses. What? Someone told me that, Phil, when I sleep, I hear the machines beating in my head. Because every now and then, a monitor is ringing and calling that some patient needs a certain kind of nursing care. And they go home with barely nothing.
Ben asked you what it would take, and you said this is to Ghanaians. We should call on our stakeholders to respect nurses and midwives. Hold for me. We're speaking to an ADR consultant. I want to get his thoughts on that quickly and then come back to you to wrap up. So, Mr. Ajabeng, are you related to Kizia Ajabeng? Mr. Ajabeng, this is what Mr. Japong is saying, that Ghanaians should call on the various stakeholders to respect nurses and midwives. What do you say to that? It looks like that is what they're asking for. Either you implement our terms of service or we continue this industrial action. What do you say to that?
I agree. I agree with him that the conditions that have been negotiated have to be respected. The collective agreement and its provisions have to be respected. But we as Ghanaians will also call on them to avoid using unlawful means of achieving the right things that they pursue. And that is where the problem is. You see, labor diplomacy requires that all means are used to resolve issues between an employer and an employee without resorting to any activity that or any action that affects productivity. So these are ways that should be taken, except that it is very easy for unions, even if the law does not allow them, to unilaterally decide that they will do what they want. And that is the challenge. In nation building, we need to all strive to do the right thing. And that is what they should do. They need to call off the strike action and then use the means available to push for a resolution. And you know, dealing with government is a difficult endeavor. The structure of government and governance is so huge that when you have issues and you are dealing with a party like government, it is extremely difficult. So we don't use simple and ordinary means to engage government to get what we want. You need to put all your best foot forward. And so I would encourage them that there are advisors, resources, consultants. There are people in here who know how to engage government, who can assist them to engage government to get the right thing. But there cannot be any justification on both sides to have even a single person lose their life because of such actions. And the law even provides for that. One day, there would be a leader who would decide that they would properly implement the law against such actions that are known to be unlawful and illegal because it has caused death or it has caused certain losses. So I think that the right things should be done as he is advocating. They should also call off the strike and then engage to resolve the problem.
Are these words falling on fertile ground? Are you going to call off the...
Not at all.
Oh.
I think that Mr. Jabain should apprise himself by saying that government should do the needful. We are calling equity here. We want to apply the law here.
He says government should do that, but he says you should also call off your strike. That's basically
You see, we didn't just come to this crossroad. We have gotten to the limit. We have been pushed to the wall where you table conditions, they are shut down about 1/3, which is about 30% are taken on board. And the 30%, you have been able to sign it off. And it's about implementation. And the government is very hesitant. There is no clear cut. We had a meeting yesterday with stakeholders, and they were talking about We calling off the strike action and then waiting for them to implement the conditions of service immediately with effect from 2026 January. Does it ring a bell in your ear?
There's something that just struck me. From where you sit, is it that you think the resources are available, but government simply doesn't want to budge? I saw someone send a message that, oh, if it were Article 71 office holders, they would have found money for their ex gratia. Is that how you feel? That
is how we feel.
The resources are there, but
that's
they don't
how we
want to.
feel that nurses and midwives have not been prioritized. Because we started engaging them before they read the budgets. So if they tell us it was not factored into their budgets, then where is the priority? Where then would we fall? Are we essential service staff? So what are that two? He was talking about negotiating with other stakeholders. Look, we have gone to the toll of the negotiation.
No. He said there are people who are trained, special like himself, ADR consultant, people who can lead these negotiations for you.
We have consultants, we have lawyers, we have other stakeholders. We have done backdoor consulting.
He's saying that they're specialists.
Have you done arbitration?
Yeah.
We didn't need to get into that because we were not in negotiation. It is when we are having salary and conditions of service negotiation, that's when we get into these lockouts. We are not negotiating. We are done with negotiation. So I don't know what it is for the employer to implement the conditions of service when others are enjoying same, when others have implemented. I don't know how you make it.
It's interesting. We're going to have to cap off the conversation here, but you would also realize, to be fair to government, that, Dr. Ikuya Mwako has been calling for the doctors, the clearance of their vehicles and all of that. I hear it would appear some things are being done, maybe in phases. And I guess I understand. That's the issue there. We have to go.
That's the pain. That's the pain. Where others are enjoying the same conditions of service we negotiated for.
Right.
And we are made to wait. It's 1 year down the line. The conditions of service will actually expire in 2026. So if you are telling us to wait until 2026, you are eventually telling us that you will not even work with it.
Thank you for joining the conversation, sweetie.
Yes, so this is Mr. Philemon Japong. He is Assistant National PRO for Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. And we also spoke to labor mediator and arbiter, ADR consultant, Senyo Ajabing. And this is on the nurses. Thank you all so much, Senyo and Mr. Philemon, for joining us. Remember, the AM show is sponsored by Wadid Properties, and we provide quality housing at affordable cost with flexible payment options. But before I go, important information you should take note of. You want to get ready for the 7th Ghana Football Awards. Join us on June 14th at the Palms Convention Center for a night of excitement, glamour, and celebration of Ghana's finest football stars. Let's unite the nation once again through football. Ghana Football Awards is a Football Impact Africa initiative powered by Activate 360 and proudly supported by the Multimedia Group and AE Mediacom. The sponsors, of course, are NASCO, FCM Travel, Destination, Avantgarde, Shell, Safari Valley Resort, Ghana Football Awards, celebrating the stars of our passion. Bet will tell you more before we go on a break.
Well, there's that all-important conference. I'm talking about the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management Ghana presenting the CIHRM 2025 conference between the 18th and the 19th of June this year at the Alisa Hotel. The theme is Regulating HRM in Ghana, Standards, Ethics, and Sustainability. The rates, well, for your sake, cheap. Members, 3,200 Ghana cedis, non-members, 4,000 cedis, and for student members, 2,000 cedis. You get to register now via the CIHRM website or at CIHRM Ghana on Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. To make your bookings, call these numbers. In fact, this number, the first one, but don't you forget. So let me get that number. There it is, 0243 278 694. You can call that number for group registrations and discounts as well. CIHRM, transforming work and workplaces.
Guess what? I'm back again with another important information for you. So are you looking to do things differently, to level up your skills and get ahead in this challenging job market? Statistics show it's tough out here for university graduates. With only a few London jobs immediately after school, Now, doing things differently is what the Design and Technology Institute is all about. DTI offers programs ranging from precision welding and fabrication, design innovation, that's graphic design, sound engineering, animation, photography, etc., and entrepreneurship. Our programs are internationally recognized by the American Welding Society, Pearson BTech, and CTVET, so you can shine right here in Ghana or anywhere else in the world. So if you're ready to do things differently and chart your path, then check out DTI. Visit dtiafrica.com or call this number for more, 054-169-3534 for more information. DTI, all rights reserved, including the right to reproduce or use this material or any part thereof in this manner. Benjamin, there's more.
And this final bit before we take a breather, if you're looking for a home in a prime location, I've got news for you. Nesta's Homes has got you covered. Our properties in Tema Community 26, just behind the Palace Mall, offer a serene atmosphere, easy access to transportation routes and social amenities as well. Off-plan prices start at $35,000. Contact us today on 0531 014 440 or 0531 014 447. Visit our website at www.nestas.com.gh. Mind you, Nestas is spelled Nestas.
Ghana, let's talk about water tanks. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If a tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, then it's not the correct tank. That's right, the tortoise tank, Syntex tank, is a champion of water tanks. It is strong and durable, and it is built to handle our Ghanaian weather. So whether rain or shine, Syntex tank has got your back. As I'm saying this to you right now, go outside and check your tank, and if it doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. Call this number, 0244 335-168 to buy one now or find one of 400 agents nationwide. You can also shop online if you're like me, like you're internet savvy, syntex.com. That is the site to go, www.syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, are you strong, are you tough? Benjamin.
Looks like you're passing the baton back to me. And finally, before we take that breather, don't forget that come the 19th day of June, it's a Thursday at 5:30 p.m. at the Kwame Nkrumah Auditorium of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. We'll have that all-important discussion on the topic, iniquities of inequity in our Santa Claus democracy. Iniquities of inequity in our Santa Claus democracy. It will be delivered by Mr. Yawan Sako, former Executive Vice President, Global Markets at Unilever. And it's that occasional lecture for the year. It's going to take place at the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. It will also show live on Joy News. You don't want to miss a beat. We're taking a breather. We'll be right back with more. So just for today, I am not a bobo, I'm a pujoba, and maybe I was in the spirit. That's why I'm in yellow, and I'm matching their colors. But pujoba, they are here in the studio. It's all about their homecoming. Joining the conversation, Martin Tandor, he's a pujoba national PRO, and we also have Joseph Oliver Bowers, pujoba national secretary. Joe, you have a powerful name, Oliver Bowers.
Yes.
Do you want to be an archbishop or something?
Anyway, after the bishop.
Let's start with you. This homecoming, tell us about it.
Okay, so this is our 67th anniversary and homecoming speech and prize giving day. And we are going back to our roots to celebrate our achievements, especially also appreciate the efforts the students have put in. The speech day is under the theme, Pojos, the past, the present, and the future we are building together. And this speech day actually is a special one for us because we're also going to launch our 5-year strategic plan. So basically, that's it. And the special guest of honor is our very own Honorable Dr. Omane Boama. under the patronage of the Bishop of Koforidua. Yes.
So if this were football, Dr. Maniboama would be playing defense.
Oh, yes.
He would be playing defense in there.
Yeah.
Martin, for you, what are the relevant dates and what is your call? What is your charge to Pujoba and people of goodwill out there?
Okay. The homecoming starts on Friday, the 13th, and it ends on the 15th. The speech day will be on the 14th. So that is when... But we are hoping that we're going to start a convoy from the Peduase Lodge. We're starting at 3 p.m., and we're going all the way to Koforidua. We'll meet those in Koforidua on the way, and we'll continue to the school. So
the encouragement is for all Pujoba to meet, to converge at Peduase?
Yes.
At Peduase. And those in Koforidua will be on standby, so those from Accra will join. By 5, we have the grand convoy in Koforidua.
Talk of this grand convoy, what numbers are you expecting? And do you have buses and all of that planned?
Yes, for the, we have the car pull-out, so we have others who join because we also want to promote the network among ourselves. And on Saturday, we have buses for our tertiary chapters who will be coming on Saturday. Now, to throw more light on the Saturday program, in the evening, our very own Kwampa, who is also the leader, is a Pujoba.
Oh, I see.
Yes, he will be having a good time with us in Koforidua. That's the first time we are sending Kwampa to Koforidua. So this is going to be a very great day for us and for our students.
So they have that song, Valentine is coming, where's your boyfriend? So this one, homecoming is coming, where's your what? That's interesting. So beyond all of this, are you seeking any support, from the alumni, from people of goodwill? Martin, I wanted you to address that. How can people support? Maybe if there's a Pujoba who says, oh, okay, maybe I may not be able to show up, but I want to do something. How can people reach?
What they can do, they can contact the National NEC, the executives, and contribute to their quota. At the moment, there are various year groups who are also doing projects in the school. Some are doing the kitchen. We have there are toilet facilities that people are putting in. That's the 85-year group. We have the 2000-year group who are also doing a project in there. We have the 205. So various year groups are doing it. So we are hoping the year groups will also come on board. And we also realize that the seminary block, that the priests, we are encouraging them to also come on board to also do something for the seminary block. So Dr. Maniboama also did us a very good favor of tiring all the roads in the school to make sure that everything is motorable before the speech day. So we thank him very well. And he's done a yeoman's job. And we are hoping the others will also come on board to do the same thing.
All right. So just in some 30 seconds, brief thoughts from foster father of Jesus and saint, Martin DePorres. I've christened you Martin DePorres. Final words.
Okay, I would want to say a very big thank you to the Pujoba 99-year group. They are sponsoring this speed day and homecoming, and out of them we have Senior Bernard, who is a Deputy NIC Commissioner, who is going to be the chairperson for the occasion, and also Reverend Tando, who is going to be the guest speaker. And we also thank each and every Pujoba who for the past 3 years, and they've been supporting our administration. And we believe that for sure when we launch the strategic plan, it's going to gear us towards the 70th anniversary. Right. So any Pujoba who is yet to come on board, please, we need
come on board now. Martin, final words, briefly.
Just to continue what he said, we also thank everybody who has been doing it in the past. But a special thanks to our sisters from Kobo Girls. They've been supporting us a lot. Yes, they've been dead. And we have this Pujo crew with Kobo Girls and Pujoba together. And we thank them very, very much for that big support.
Reminds me of that song, Crow, 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 Thank you. Martin Tandor is a Pujuba. He is the national PRO. And we also had Joseph Oliver Bowers. He's the Pujuba National Secretary, joining us to talk about the Pujuba Homecoming and Speech Day between the 13th and the 15th of this month. You ought to join them. Don't be left out. That's how we cap off the AM show. My name is Benjamin Akakwa. I did this together with Sweetie Abochi. Have a sweet morning. Joy News Desk up next.